and 5.
Oh, 7-star citizens, and welcome back to Answer the Call, your weekly podcast / call-in show, where we have a nice little surprise for you today. We have Space Cutlet here with us today. Hello, Space Cutlet.
Hi.
Just as excited as I was to be on the first.
Yeah, I'm preserving my future, my talks.
Yeah. So we when I was watching CitizenCon, I could hear his keyboard clacking from Germany about how upset he was about something in particular, and that was insurance and some of the things around crafting and blueprints and stuff like that, and basically how they all come together and how. And I somewhat agree with them on the idea of some of the information shared at CitizenCon seems to be contradicting itself. So that's going to be the main topic for today. We have a few things that we want to talk about earlier, but it felt, I think personally, we haven't done guests too much now that me and Croncy have been doing this. So it felt weird to just be like, let's do the normal thing that we would normally do and just talk for an hour at the beginning about what's gone on for the week and then move to our guests or something like that. Like it just, when we have guests, we bring on the guest, it's just, that's what it is. So we're going to talk about the 4.0 getting gutted today before we get into it, because that was basically the news from the week, on top of some Evo testing for 4.0. Maybe a little bit about what each of us think about that being open and how it's been and those kind of things, because I've pretty strong feelings about that. So we'll touch on that for probably 30 minutes at the most, and then we'll move into this discussion about a specific topic, which is I have talked about this on this podcast more. There's been more titles like this on this podcast than any other thing. Insurance needs to be good or the game will be bad.
Yep.
Has been my feeling. So I've done more podcasts on this topic than any other. But I think we should probably start out the week with the roadmap roundup and what kind of went on. I guess the first thing is 1.0 was put onto release view. So that's cool, I guess. I don't know how anybody feels about that.
There was a lot of confusion that came out immediately afterwards. Like, if you read the roadmap update, it all makes sense. It's why they would put it there and stuff. But a lot of confusion, people saying, like, oh, so we're just going straight from 4.0 to 1.0? No, guys.
No.
This is a long-term goals roadmap, basically.
Yeah.
They even mentioned within it, anytime features from 1.0 end up getting put into patches, they'll be moved into that patch, right?
Which I think is a little bit confusing. So, like, if the guild system ends up in 4.1, it's just not going to be here anymore, and it's going to be over there. So, like, eventually 1.0 will look like nothing. So
it'll be an empty patch.
Yeah, so it's the roadmap is not perfect, and it is what it is. But they're at least giving you a somewhat overview of what they want in 1.0. But I don't know. I don't think much about this because it is the implementation of, for example, Star Audio that we're looking at now, or Star Sim. In 1.0, it should be complete. But if it comes in, like, let's just for a random example, Star Sim ends up in 4.0, which we know it won't. But let's just say it does. It's going to end up in some lower tier version of what it would be here. And then they're going to call it announced like they do other things. For example, freight elevators or storage access. All this stuff is released. That's interesting. But it's not done.
Yeah.
Right? So it's I screwed it up. Or because it's very the Star Citizen. I don't know. Like I don't know how to describe it and what you guys feel, but it's gonna be very confusing to people, and it's good to just be like, this is what we want for 1.0, and that's about as far as I feel about it. And they have to stick to this. The things in 1.0 can't change. You can only maybe add a few things to it, and that's it. But you can't remove anything, and you can't, like, this is it. You have to make up your mind. You have to do it, right? So
I think it's mostly a marketing move, putting 1.0 on the release view in the first place.
Yeah.
to communicate with the audience that we have like set goals in mind, and that's what those goals are for 1.0. So I personally think that the logic of that column 1.0 column is a countdown, reversed like countdown,
Yeah.
where slowly the boards that are on that column will there's going to be less and less boards on that column because they're going to go back to whatever patch they're releasing next, as you said, right? So basically, Star Citizen 1.0 will be out there when that column has 0 things in it,
Yeah.
right?
So the less things are in it, the more excited people will get. But I worry that they'll do tier 0 versions of AI blades, tier 0 versions of these other things, and will it be 1.0 when we have those? And you know, CIG does CIG things, and you know, I like mining, and we're going around trying to mine, and nothing works right now, right? Radar is in a weird place, and we know that they're doing stuff with that, right? And there's all sorts of half-baked things in Star Citizen. They can't do half-baked anymore. So whatever...
Yeah, the point of 1.0 is to not be baked, right? Like,
Correct. But if it's going in 4.0, 4.1, is that 1.0? So when they move it over to 4.1...
Is that like 1.0 version that will go into 4.1? That's the question.
But they'll pull it out of the 1.0 column and call it released.
Yeah, and call it like done, yeah.
And it's not done. Right? So it's like this game they play, like you said, it's a marketing thing, right? And these games, these mind 100%. Games they play with us is just, it's getting old to me personally. But I don't think it's, I'm not looking, I don't want to look at this as like a negative. It's 1.0 is a thing that is not a negative to me at all. But I just worry that CIG will still do CIG things, you know? And that's it.
Yeah. I think 1.0 column just should have had one board that says no more wipes. Yeah. And that's it.
And
then and then between that,
that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, because all of the features that are meant to come in 1.0, right? We're going to see them prior to that, because obviously they will not like release a new feature and then without testing and running it and see how it works, just like, you know, going like, okay, no more wipes, and then everything breaks and oh shit, we get a wipe again, right?
Yeah, and it won't break from like the bugginess standpoint maybe necessarily, but like the opportunity for exploits then.
Yeah.
That's the issue there. You have to get the exploits out before 1.0. I agree with that. That's the best way to look at it, is 1.0 is just the launch of the game, but the game should feel like 1.0 way before 1.0. Yeah. It's got to feel that way. So I guess that's a way better way of saying what I wanted to say, is anything that is in this column needs to be brought up to a much higher standard than what we're used to, along with everything that's in the other columns behind it, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how I look at it, at all that stuff, and how I would like to see it. But that's really that on the 1.0. I mean, I didn't really show the stream the actual description of it, but it's it just represents their development journey towards it, and they'll migrate everything. So we pretty much explain those other things. Release view. This is all 324 stuff. I don't think there's anything too surprising here outside of maybe the ghost or the tracker, right?
No, it's not surprising either.
Yeah.
We've known that for quite a while, right?
I haven't, because I don't pay attention to ships.
It's surprising that they would release theoretically an IAE. But them releasing is not a surprise. I think it's a little bit. I felt like
I think it was.
Away.
I guess
not
it's
too much
because
necessarily, but yeah.
I guess it's because I was looking at, back in the day, I was looking at Pipeline and the files for them leaked.
Okay. Yeah. I don't look at any of that shit.
The thing I don't see is the Super Hornet Mark II, which should be a thing, but it might be a surprise or something. We'll see.
Yeah,
or maybe it's going to come later.
Maybe it just comes a little bit later. And then the main, I guess the main stuff is the idea of all of the things listed on the screen right now, and one more, I think the most important one at the bottom, is being removed from 4.0. Life support, gone. engineering, gone. Fire hazard, gone. I'm gonna go down to charge and drain because they're together with engineering, in my opinion. Gone. The amount of ISCs they've done on that, gone. Not gone, but delayed, right? Delayed.
Yep, delayed.
But not in 4.0. People are mad. Are any of you guys mad?
I'm disappointed, not mad, and I'm not that disappointed.
I'm not even disappointed. I'm happy.
It means they are clearly trying to get 4.0 out before the end of the year. They would not have done this if that was not. All right, guys, we have to cut stuff to get this out.
I could say it a little bit of a different way. They're not even trying to get 4.0 necessarily. They're trying to get meshing, and that's it. They don't give a shit. Meshing with the ability to jump. They don't care about anything else. And that's what I was totally fine if they did a 325, got meshing without pyro.
Which was originally,
4.0
they had said
jumping.
that was likely to happen, like literally like a year ago. They were like, this is likely to happen. We'll have a meshing patch and then we'll have pyro 4.0.
Yeah, like I would have been totally fine with that because Cutlet, just give your feelings before I go into my
I'll just keep quiet until you ask me to talk because I'm not used to this kind of podcast.
Hold on. I feel like Cutlet is nervous because we make jokes about his rants. Those are jokes. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Cut me off.
I'm totally comfortable. I'm listening to what you're saying. It's just I don't want to I don't have the feel for this podcast because I don't do them often, and it feels like I always interrupt someone midway. So I kind of quiet. I'll let you guys talk, and then I'll
do not worry.
We interrupt each other all the time.
It's impossible for us not to interrupt each other. So
I just did it.
Do it.
Just do it. Jump in.
Okay,
I want you to jump in.
Yeah. So I have, in short, I have literally 2 words about all this gutting, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah.
0 fucks given.
What do
0.
you care about?
I care about initially back in a previous CitizenCon when they got all this pyro hype going, right? Not this one, the previous one. I had this idea even before that CitizenCon, in summer previous year. I was saying I think what CG is going to do, they're gonna start testing server meshing on Stanton without pyro, right? That's what Croncy said, you said just now. I thought that would be the smart way to do it, where there is not many variables. Everyone knows Stanton as it is. Everyone knows Stanton bugs, mission bugs, whatever. So players, and especially those who are more into testing, it would be quite easy for them to identify problems that server meshing and everything around server meshing creates, because it's a stable system that they've known for years now, right? So I thought that's what CG would do, but apparently they're not doing it, right? Apparently we're going.
I just feel because they want to do the jump point as well. Look at how many issues they're having with it. I think that's the only reason. Or there's the marketing, we have to deliver pyro kind of thing. We can't keep doing this.
There's no way it's not, right?
So anyway, my point is, I don't care about obviously we all want to have it, and it's the whole other gameplay, blah 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 blah. But I think that doesn't really matter. I think what matters is stabilizing meshing as a technology.
Yeah.
And I don't even care if pyro is in or not. Stabilizing meshing, increasing player count is personally what matters for me. We can cry about gameplay as much as we really want, but it doesn't really matter, because we've seen across the years these multiple attempts of CG to push for content and gameplay that isn't just ready, and it usually ended up.
How can
it usually ended up sorry, what?
My argument is, how can you make gameplay without server, without knowing how server meshing
you need the
works?
context of the infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen it multiple times where they would push out certain stuff, and it would either be broken patch 1 and not even working as intended, and then it keeps being broken for years, or there's even a worse example where they would the engineering whatever game tech team would create like a base for something, and then now we give it like to game designers to develop like gameplay around it, and that would literally never happen. So they have this like half-ass baked solutions that are never used by the next layer of developers, and then the moment they want to use them, they need to be reworked again, right? So all of this like engineering and all of that, if it's not ready, it's not ready. Just stabilize the system, make it work on a technical core level, and then the stuff will come in later. If it comes in later, like one patch, like who cares if the game works?
Exactly.
Like if the game doesn't work, no one cares if engineering is in, because nothing is working.
Exactly. That's my feeling too. Is just there is no arguments for adding anything other than meshing at this point. That is all that matters. That is the thing that is literally blocking everything other than mission refactor. That is also meshing, and something that that we should jump into in just a moment, which is the transit refactor. We've all known that. I consider those all one bundle. CIG does not. But Croncy, go ahead. You seem like you wanted to jump in.
I did, and then I forgot my point.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's because I was enthralled in your points, Mike.
Thank you. They're so good, right?
They're just lovely. I was going to say something about. I think everyone does hazard the guess that it will just literally be the next patch for all of this engineering stuff. And do not mistake, pretty much everything in that panel, except for the transit refactor, is engineering or engineering adjacent, right? It's all related to the same
Nearly
stuff.
everything, yeah. There's one thing
I would even argue that the solar pulse probably is now engineering related, and not the version that we saw it during the Bahira playtest, right?
I want to talk
almost
about
guarantee
that.
that is.
I want to talk about that. That is, I'm more disappointed by that not being there than nearly everything else on the list. It's
really? Interesting.
It's stupid, but it was like one of the things that was supposed to make Pyro like hard to live in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%.
And now Pyro is officially Red Stanton with outlaws, I guess. Right?
I mean, the FPS definitely will make it hard to live in. If I will keep running in stations with 10 FPS, that's going to be the main challenge. But
True.
Yeah.
The last patch was a little bit better.
Just kidding.
I had some good experiences today everywhere except the stations.
No, yeah, everywhere except for the stations is great. The stations, which is where, now that all of this stuff is gone, that's the only content, guys.
Yeah,
the only content is
was my
stations.
only 10 FPS was my only experience because I was trying to do the contested zones, right? I didn't care like anything, and like my entire playthroughs were like at 15 FPS dipping to 4.
Yeah,
like right, but I don't complain because I think complaining right now would be literally saying to CAG, confirming to CAG they were right, never allowing to show that progress. That's what at least I say on my stream. Guys, I just meme about the FPS, and I will just, even if I'm a little bit frustrated, I will be laughing and just memeing with chat about it, because I know that this shouldn't even be streamable, right? It's not my first Evo, not the first Rodeo. I've seen these performances, and I've seen them getting much better over the patches. So I literally just skip that and don't complain about it.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. They're finally seeing what we deal with on a regular basis, and it just is what it is. And they're not capable of dealing with it. I could see it in chat all the time, but it's just that's what it is. And we do know that there's reasons for that low performance. So it's like,
and I also think it's actually cool. It's actually cool that then for example, I can stream it, and it's not about that. The fact of streaming, it's the fact that it all goes like to the, like, it gets recorded, and then when I need to like do any sort of report or like talk to like Bunton, Winter, whatever, I just do the timing, and there you go. That what I've experienced. Like, I don't need to go and recreate it and like try to get the same issue again. I just love that.
like I basically told one of the devs that worked on contested zones, I don't know what your guys' experiences have been, but I've hit a block, a wall that I can't get past, and I'm not sure if it's a bug or not. And because we found something that we think is the next step, but we don't know because it's bugged. And I just said, I give up, because one of the devs that I was talking to was so excited for me to find this stuff and go through the aspect of contested zones.
You're saying, are you afraid to do the spoiler? What are you talking about?
I don't. It's.
This is supposed to be repeatable content. I don't know if that.
Yeah, I don't consider it too spoilery. But I found a hangar. I went through keys and all these. We got keys and all these things at. I'm not even spoiling. I can't remember the name of the station, but one of the 3 stations that have actual contested zones, not the Ghost Arena one. There is at the very end of what we believe to be the end of the content at that station is a security door, a level 1 security door that opens up into a room that is a hangar 30. Hangar 30 has a door in it that opens, but it opens to an empty thing that you go into EVA into nothing. And we think the next step is in EVA around a hangar of some kind, because the next step is a hangar. We have all these large keys 1 through, we don't have 7, but we have every other key, 1 through 6. These big ass keys that look like comp boards, and we don't know where to bring them.
I've looted one.
We've looted 6 different ones. They all have different names. We don't know where to go next. So I just told him, I was like, I give up. I give up. I don't know where to go next. I know where to get all these keys. I know where to go, what to do. I know how Ghost Arena works, we think. And
what's the thing with the Ghost Arena though?
So Ghost Arena,
I heard you talking about the Ghost Arena, and I was at the Rune Station. You go in there, like these different rooms where you go, and then if you go into one specific there are 3
named rooms, 3 named doors.
Yep. And one of them will bring you to another door that will say Ghost Arena. You just go in, and there are a bunch of vents, pipes, and that's it.
So I think it's pretty simple. There's a main area that you fight in, and in that room there's a timer. And the loot door opens every 5 minutes, let's say. It'll probably change over time. There's 3 other doors that lead off of that main room. Okay? The treasure door opens on a timer, but the other doors open up, you go through them with a fuse. Once you get to the end of those provides you with a key. That key opens the corresponding door inside the treasure room when the treasure room door opens. And there is a loot room in that door. And that loot room will have valuable shit. Now what's missing?
The middle one had the printing of the big com board with number 5.
Yes.
And the other ones were just like loot with random guns. They're nothing special.
The loot is not in. The potential for loot all exists. Like everything with Star Citizen. Well, the loot is technically in. So the guns that you find in the open containers have special attachments to them that
were
lower
never
recoil.
To me.
Yeah, that are supposed to lower recoil.
Said the normal attachments. The name was the same. It wasn't different.
Yeah, but that's what they're supposed to be. So now that's all we know at this point. Is that they're supposed to be like special, and then we found components.
I also
as well
was told there could be components.
There are components in contested zones.
And because there was whenever you go to that room with 3 loot rooms, right? There is also a side way to the hangar elevator where you could bring components, but I never found components.
Well, yeah, maybe early on you didn't the components showed up in the last couple patches too.
Yesterday, I did it yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, in those rooms they're not there. I don't know what's supposed to be there, but in the regular contested zones, when you get to the end, there are components in the main room, and there's lots of NPCs you got to fight against.
But there also were other guys looted and told me they were just big raid components again. Probably they're not in yet.
No, regular components that are all on Urkel. Nothing special. The only special thing is scorched stuff, which are just skins. No.
Yeah, I was gonna say I found that today. I was super confused.
Scorched stuff.
It was just a
Scorch
regular
is a skin.
stabilizer. Yeah.
For what?
gun
for
components
FPS
is one
weapons.
thing that I found. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
FPS
found like a
weapons? Okay.
scorched E-mod stabilizer 1.
Yeah, but
it's just the same for the most part.
exactly. But they also have the colors on the components for those, which is kind of cool. So your gun can look badass all the way through.
I never found it. The only difference I did that Valor, what you call it, Valor Karna, the emote whatever stabilizer, it had absolutely same name, but it looked white.
Yeah,
that's about it.
That's supposed to be the special one, but it's maybe
not.
Is, but maybe isn't. I can't tell because I don't have a regular one next to it, and I can't tell the recoil differences or whatever. So that's what we think 4.0 is now. That's it. And if you don't like PvP content, there is other stuff. The moons are beautiful. The clouds look great. There's also new minables and materials. So there's a lot of things. Bases. Well, asteroid bases are completely copy paste, and I'm hoping throughout the Evo cycle that changes. When I say copy paste, there is a shotgun in a like the same shotgun is in the same place. Like it is exact to a T copy paste. So that doesn't seem like it's gonna end up in 4.0 that way. It's not good. But anyway, if people want to participate in the contested zone stuff, look for bright green spray paint. There's arrows, there's X's, there's hints. You're looking for bright green spray paint.
One of my dudes, I think it was Sketched, he sent me a screenshot of a graffiti on the wall. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's something like about the ship. Follow the X's and whatever that means.
And it'll lead you to a new ride, something like that.
Yeah.
That
no one knows
scary.
what that is, right?
That's scary though.
Yeah.
It's probably just a golden ticket to buy another ship.
That's what I'm saying. That's scary. It can't. To me, it can't be. I've never had here. I've been linked it, so we could show it. Cool. Thank you.
It can't be because once again, it's supposed to be repeatable content.
Across Pyro, the secret of 7 hide. So we've found 6 keys. I'm assuming there's 7. Follow the X's to a brand new ride. This is in the Ghost Arena, by the way.
7 hides, so 7 keys. Yeah. Okay.
So we've found 6. We have not found 7, but I have not found a single place to put a key. So it doesn't matter if I found 1 or 7 if I don't know where to put them.
So basically, this riddle is basically the part of whatever you're doing in Pyro with the keys. Okay.
Apparently, if it's a ship sail, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. If it's a ship sail, I'm gonna explode because they gotta learn their lesson. And there's no way. All these devs have messaged me and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna like. How are you gonna say I'm gonna love it if it's a ship sail, right? Like it can't be. It's got to be better than that.
You say they gotta learn.
I see cool FPS weapons. It's got to be that, right? Like it's got to be some badass component, right? Like come on, man.
Like you say you gotta learn, but why would they learn if everything works for them?
It's not working anymore.
Is it?
How much did they make in October at CitizenCon?
Let's see when the year ends.
Yeah, let's see when the year ends, but I don't think it's working as well as it used to. But I think they're gonna have to start changing their tune, and they're starting to realize it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think people are just a little bit like jaded at this point. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
For reference, they will make an insane amount of money. There's so many flyables, but this can't be a gold ticket. If it would be anything, maybe a platinum.
Every Degen now will totally ape the Pioneer. Should you not?
Yeah. $800.
Assuming it's no longer hull limited.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's been about half an hour. Oh, there's another. This is from DJ. I'm not clicking it. It's a gnome. I'm
pretty sure it's a gnome.
Yeah. I looked. I previewed it. It was a gnome. I got gnomed. But it's been about half an hour. That's all I really got on things. 4.0. Who cares? Agreed. Let's get. It's not about 4.0. It's not about Pyro. It's about server meshing. I think we're all in pretty much agreement with that. And then, I the only thing I haven't talked about is the transit refactor not being in 4.0. That is insane. That is stupid, and that is wrong. That is bad.
I don't even know what is
news.
the
It feels like
transit
bug
refactor.
central.
Transit refactor
What is a
is
transit refactor?
when you try to use an elevator and it doesn't work. When you try to use your ASOP terminal, well, maybe they said they split out ASOP, so maybe not, or ATC and stuff like that. So that might be in
Trains
there. So
too, like
trains,
shuttles.
yeah,
Trains?
shuttles breaking, all that stuff. And guess what happens every time object container stripping comes in, SSOCS comes in, server meshing comes in, any of these major technical things come in, everything breaks on the transit system because they have never done the proper refactor. That is insane to not have part of 4.0. It has to come with 4.0. And it not being there means that you know the thing that you were saying, Cutlet, earlier with like, all right, we know what Stanton feels like, so you know what are bugs and how to work around them and all that stuff. You're not gonna know what. You're not going to be able to test easily. You're not going to be able, there's going to be problems with that unless they have some sort of super good band-aid that is going to make this work for a while like they always do, and then just leave this shit like they always do. We'll see. But I look at that as a major red flag of this is going to cause problems.
I think they will be able to band-aid it. Unfortunately, I think the band-aid is going to mean smaller player caps. Like we've been testing 250 on Evo Cardi for the last week or two.
You think it's due to transit?
That would suck. Well, a lot of the issues that come with the transit system are also related to just the amount of people in the system. So I'm saying a band-aid literally might just be they don't go higher than that 250.
So
I'm not gonna lie.
You mean like calling elevators and all that jazz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the numbers we're testing right now. It's a little bit scary. So because obviously we went up to 2,000, but no one expected that to actually happen, right?
Yeah.
But now that we're dialed into 250, that's scary. Like if we're gonna stay at 250 for a while now, and I mean for a while, for a year or two, it's I was honestly expecting like.
Do you think we are?
I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, as a caveat, we also we need to see, like, I don't think I've been in a server with 250 people yet, right? Every single one of my Evo Cardi tests have been like,
I think I was.
Has been quite small.
I think I was like 230 something. Yeah,
you're on good time.
I was expecting like
in the Aussie. Croncy's in the dead times for the rest of us.
I was expecting like around like settling on something like 500 at least.
That's what I'd want. Yeah.
I want 1,000 personally, but
yeah, man. I mean, I want 5,000, man.
Yeah,
exactly. I want 5,000. I want one shard, bro. Like a shard for a region. That's it, you know.
Yeah, true. Like what we want and what's reality is totally different. It's just it's weird that the server meshing tests are significantly higher than what we have there. So I wonder if they're just playing it safe for the moment. Because it's like, all right, we got to figure out the deal with the jumps and all this other shit. So
we got to figure out 250 before we start testing at 500. You know?
Exactly, yeah. So that maybe they don't want to add the extra layers of complexity on just yet. But I would. My fears are similar fears of like, how long do we have to wait until we get up to 1,000?
Exactly. If it's going to be like until another sitcon, that means we're stuck with like 250 for another year.
Yeah.
Which means it's divided by Stanton and Pyro. Those players will be divided by Stanton and Pyro. That means literally probably even less encounters that we have right now. Yeah. So that's scary.
I see a lot of players saying, "Oh, 500 seemed really playable during the tests." And yes, but again, you were just in Stanton and really playable versus what server meshing is intended to deliver, right? And that's to make the Stanton system feel alive. That's to make the AI feel alive. That's to make the Pyro system feel alive. And when you jump through the Pyro gate, there are people there waiting and there are people there doing things. That's what this is supposed to unlock. And
also,
it's not going to feel good if it's 250 people. It's going to feel the same.
Yeah. Also remember whenever you guys say, not you guys, I mean chat says that like 500 was playable. Remember, the builds were gutted. Yeah, there were no missions. There were like literally nothing there.
Yeah.
So
it was pure server meshing.
Yep. So keep that in mind too. All right. You want to move on to insurance? and all that stuff.
Whenever you're ready.
I just want I've said it in every single time we've talked about this stuff. I just want Tarkov insurance. That's it. I think Tarkov does it perfectly.
That's one of the ways, but
that's mine. And but that's all I gotta say. Let's start out with what they said, and I'll let some of you guys take over on this stuff. But basically, what they said is 3 levels of insurance that you get your money back for, and then if you add a warranty, you get your stuff back on the 3 different levels to keep it as simple as possible. Level 1 being your ship, level 2, stock ship, level 2 being ship and components, level 3 being ship, components, and
decorations.
Is decorations.
Vanity, whatever, just vanity.
Yeah.
No mention of cargo insurance, which has been mentioned in the past. No mention of security status. No mention of the cost of these things.
Yep.
Lots of unknowns still. Lots of freaking out worthy stuff, but also lots of speculative stuff. So, Cutlet, you're here for a reason.
Oh, God.
Why?
Here we go.
Why did you blow my DMs up during my live streams about this? And I took the time out to respond because I was like, whoa, holy fuck, he's mad? I didn't think he would be mad about this stuff. So, well, insurance, yes. I was kind of bummed out when I heard some of the things. But you started out with blueprints. You were freaking out. And then insurance happened. And then it was like, all right, well, I agree with this freak out. So let's start out with insurance, and then we'll get to blueprints, because I do think all of the things that I was super hyped about crafting, crafting blueprints, materials, everything comes into play if insurance is not balanced to remove as much pay to win as possible. I don't think it's completely removable, but yeah. So how do you feel? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling?
All right. So I haven't. First of all, I haven't prepared a bullet point or speech. So I'll just go
the way you
like
feel.
yeah.
I want to hear how you feel.
Again, I come from a background of a more hardcore MMOs, right? Where
same
stuff getting like destroyed, killed, whatever, starting from Ultima, ending with EVE Online. So this system currently, like, my emotions were a roller coaster when I was like sitting there and watching the presentation. So the first thing they said is Tier 1 insurance will give you money back, right?
And I was like,
they never even spoke about warranty. And I was like, I literally stood up from my chair and like, yes, it was like, that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And then the moment they said about the warranty that gives you back items, I was like, no. I was literally sorry. I was literally screaming there. This comes from the perspective of I've seen how it works in other games. Yeah. And
we've all played EVE, the 3 of us.
We've all played EVE and other games. And I think the critical moment in all of these games is the cycle of life and death of an asset, right?
Yeah.
Because when Rich came out on stage and said, well, ship loss should matter, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
yes,
this is interesting, right? This is interesting. And because like some of you may know, give me a second, sorry. And some of you may know, I've brought it up a lot in discussions that one of the main and first sentences, I don't remember it by heart, but in EVE Online design document is like, death should be a meaningful event, right? So I don't know how specifically CAG got inspired by that sentence, because he literally said the same thing.
Yeah.
But it feels like in their mind, when they want the ship loss to be a meaningful thing, they're thinking only about player
crafted
facing consequences. In like just a monetary loss in UEC at that point. I guess not AUC. UEC at that point. And then they just like put the walls around the player that died, and okay, we just suck out UEC from his wallet, and that's how we make that chip loss meaningful to them.
Yeah.
But that ends there. So at the presentation, they showed us like leading to that moment of insurance. For hours, they showed us how this world will operate.
Yes.
They told us how we're going to craft stuff and upgrade stuff. And then they just get to the insurance point and they literally cross everything they said before. Because I'll get there from afar. So imagine you are that craft as a player.
And I'm that
go ahead.
person. Yeah, like that. This is what I want to do. So like that's where I saw this and I was like, wait, what? But continue. Like I'm that person. I felt that roller coaster of, oh my God, crafting's so good. I love all the ideas they have. But then before we get there, can we clarify one thing? Do we have an issue with a pledge store ship being returned to a player by default? Do we have any issue with that?
I personally do, but I understand that is not negotiable, so I don't even bring that up.
Correct.
I have like all the issues you could possibly imagine with everything they said about it, including like that stuff. But there are certain things.
But we know it's unavoidable. Like people spent 500 plus thousands of dollars. Like if they lost that stuff, that is insane. Right. Yeah. So I think we're all in agreement that that's a non-negotiable. We can't change that. We're not trying to change that. That's crazy. Okay?
I kind of have a solution even to that. And I think I described it to you back in the day, but let's just forget about it.
It's going to stay.
That's the whole
it's dead. It's never changing. We're in agreement there. Nobody is trying to say get rid of that. Although we have played games where things like that exist, and those games are enjoyable and fun and good and have great experiences in them, okay? Where I think we take the most issue is on an upgraded ship component, upgraded ship hull, any changed components from stock, or the stuff that's on your ship potentially, because if that adds cargo as well, then it's a little bit funky, right?
To touch on that, I mentioned a little bit before the podcast that I was doing some like double checking research on all the information that they've mentioned. There is nothing in any of the information that they've mentioned, and I desperately need clarification on, that says you can get the upgraded ship back.
Correct. You don't know what the hull means yet. Right?
Exactly.
And the hull might mean a lot more than we don't know what the hull means in terms of because there's 5 upgrade levels of ships. What the hell does that mean?
Theoretically 6, I will also just say, because when they did show the tiers of components and whatnot, a tier 1 gun had an upgrade over like the basic level of the gun.
Okay. So unless that was a material bonus, it's we don't know. But so we don't know what any of that stuff means. That is a huge unknown that is really important. And if you go back to tier 1 when you get your stuff back, or tier 0 or whatever it happens to be, I'm happy. I'm cool. I'm cool because I'm the min-maxer type. The casuals may not be doing that stuff, and they'll just be getting their ships back, enjoying their game casually. I will be competing. No matter what I'm doing. So I'm sort of fine with that. But I take issue with, personally, the tier 2 and tier 3 insurance way more than I do the basic insurance with a warranty, obviously. But I
was going to say for reference.
Yeah. So that's my feelings on that stuff. And with that, I just wanted to jump in and jump in on that a little bit and just be like, hey, we're not trying to tell you that you should lose a $500 spaceship and never get it back.
I mean, I am, but I'll shut up.
No, we like I do think that it is a better experience overall, but we do understand that it will never happen. So we're not going to stand up here and try to argue that CIG should change that because it's not going to happen. What we're arguing is what we think could change and the little tweaks that could be made to make things better. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's get back to the scenario that we started to describe.
Please.
Mike is that dude that is an industrial type of a player. And from the start, from 1.0, like it releases, and everything this dude does is like rushing, creating his corporate org and like building up an industry. So he would go and research the blueprints. He would achieve like good tiers of weapons. He will be able to craft it. That's literally the gameplay of that player. He's not doing combat. He's doing stuff that is required for combat, right? That
Correct.
other people want. So there is Mike, and there is me, a degenerate who just wants to shoot stuff and knows how to earn AUC in other ways. And I want to buy from Mike guns. So Mike is there. He has a shop, and he's selling I don't know,
Super
repeaters,
high rate of fire repeaters.
CF repeaters that are tier 3, and those repeaters are like from the best materials, and they will grant me like, I don't know, like 20% like advantage on the guns. Let's say just random numbers.
Yep.
I fly to Nix, where let's say he sits with his shop. I get to him. It takes me time. It takes me effort, right, to do all of that, right? I get there and I'm like, here is your UC, Mike. That's crazy guns you have there. I'll take 5 for my Hornet, like, 2 size 4s and like whatever, 4 size 3, 6, sorry, total.
But
I'll take that stack.
But wait, Space Cutlet, you don't want 10 or 20 of them in case you lose those guns?
Mike, this is a metaphor.
No.
You can't be upselling him already, all right?
No, Mike. I'm fine. I'm fine. I need to equip my Hornet. Yeah. I know where it's going. I need to equip my Hornet. I'm fine. Sorry, bro. Not today.
No
I'm
problem.
Sorry. Not today, my man.
Fair.
So I take those guns. I fly back to Pyro. I get an engagement with Avenger 1, and the Avenger 1 is definitely a better pilot than me. So he fucks me up pretty badly, explodes my ship. I eject, barely survive. There is a Tumblerino that will be shitting in on Avenger 1 in F12, and then he rescues me. I go back to whatever station he brings me, tosses me to, right? And then I press insurance button. Yeah. And I have a warranty, guys. I don't have ships without warranty. All my ships are with warranty. I've spent thousands of dollars to get all of my ships on the pledge store, and they're all with warranty. And obviously, I'm at least tier 2 insured because I'm not stupid. No matter how much it costs, I know how to make money.
I wouldn't say no matter how much it costs, but like I imagine
no matter how much it costs. No matter how much it costs, because it will not cost me more than the amount of time I will spend doing that all over again. It doesn't matter. No matter how much it costs.
I actually would disagree. Like, it might.
If it costs
the way that they talked about it.
If it costs as much as the new Hornet, I'll still pay it. It doesn't matter. So I have that tier 2.
Because he doesn't have to leave the station. It's the convenience factor is what you're saying, right?
But he does have to wait the day or 2 or the 3 days that it takes that would normally take to craft that vehicle. But that is a caveat that we need information on that doesn't exist yet.
We know that
it doesn't matter. I will have answers for that. I'll have answers for that a little bit later. What Croncy just said, right?
Okay, because that's a factor.
Yeah.
So I basically press that button. We will skip to the moment where I get back my ship, no matter how long it takes, and my ship comes back with everything I bought from Mike. And Mike is sitting there in Nix on his base with his store open.
Nobody's buying from my store
with those
anymore.
guns, and he's basically AFK.
I have the best
no one
stuff.
buys. Yeah.
Why is
but
nobody
who
buying
cares?
from me?
I get them from insurance. Yeah.
Oh.
So. Yeah,
I didn't know that
I'm
would
sorry,
happen.
Mike. I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. That's just how the game works. You probably should go and play even line. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'll go play Eve.
Yep.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. And so that is my main problem. And if you talk about how much time it takes, it doesn't matter. extrapolate this to me buying 10 Hornets or 20 Hornets. Okay, I'll buy 10 or 20 stacks of those guns from Mike. It will end up with the same result in like, it will happen, okay, not instantly, it will happen in the half a year period, right?
Yep.
It will be the same result. When that like formula, when that equation is complete for me, I will never bother to go to Mike and ever buy guns again. Unless they're gonna get like, now the people will jump like to this conclusions, but yeah, the guns will deteriorate over time and they will break. Yes, but something tells me, and that something is experience, like decades of experience in this kind of games, that will not be enough. There will be that many SaltEMikes, and only that many guns will slowly deteriorate over time. So you have to buy. So like the market will be flooded with them, and there's not going to be this like constant circle of life and death of components. So this is my main thing about like main problem with this system they're implementing. That whole shenanigans they came up with the crafting, they're killing it literally day one
before it lives.
Before it's it will live for like, obviously there is like different range of players, right? Sure. And some players will get to those builds like later, sooner, but there is that much you can do, and when majority of the population is done with it, it's dead. Like it happens in every MMO that has that doesn't have this item sync out. That's like World of Warcraft, whatever. You take all the professions.
And what do
like,
they have to do? They have to expand.
They have expansions, right?
Power creep. Those armors don't matter anymore. You got to get the next stuff.
But that's not how Star Citizen meant to work, right?
We don't. I feel like we still don't know. Sadly, like we have a lot more answers than we had before, but we also have a lot more questions than we had before on some things, like the things that we're talking about today. And I would just say I don't want it to work like WoW. I don't want it to be those things.
Yeah, no way.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want that to happen. I prefer, and again, it's just my preference. It's just Croncy's preference. It's just Space Cutlet's preference. Like that's it. It's our preference. Your preference matters too. I see this all the time when I talk about what I like. All of a sudden, people think that I'm trying to force what I like on everyone else. No, but I do have experience. I have been playing MMOs for as long as Cutlet has. Maybe not as intensely as Cutlet has, but I definitely have played MMOs for as long, and I know how it feels, and I know when things tend to die, and I know it. And when you go for gear, and once you get that gear, and there is no risk to lose it anymore, you lose the desire to keep going. I know people do not like grinds in MMOs, which is hilarious because that's what they are, and that might just mean that MMOs are not for you, right? And that's it. MMOs are a niche now. But Star Citizen's making an MMO, so it kind of has to act like one. But you have to choose. Do you like the grind that WoW provides, which is a new expansion every year or whatever, and then my power level goes up and I got to grind for this stuff, and then everything that I had before doesn't matter anymore? Or do you want to go on the other extreme, or somewhere in between, where there is an EVE Online that is even the lowest value components have value 20 years later? What sounds better to you? Right?
So I overall think,
because
like, I don't want to.
Let me finish real quick, just 1 second.
Sorry.
I'm a new player to EVE. I just started playing. I can play. I don't have to level to max before I start playing. I can play now, and that's the difference. Is you want your game to live forever, and you want your game to be enjoyable for a person who starts in year 10, as enjoyable for the person who starts in year 10 as it is for the person who started on day 1. And that's the argument we're making here. We're not making the argument so crafting can be fun for just me. We're not making the argument so piracy can just be fun for Cutlet. And we're not making any arguments. Well, Croncy, we haven't given you a chance to make an argument, so I'm going to let you. But
doubly.
yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. I just want to make sure that that people don't feel like we're doing this to them, right?
Yeah.
We're just trying to share you our experiences from other games that we play. And I think the way I just said it is the best way I can say it. I don't think there's any other way. Do you want to go the WoW way where I always have to get the next thing? Or do you want to go the way where on day one, 10 years into this game, that you can have fun for yourself?
Yep.
And that's the way I would rather the game go. And that's it. Just rather the game go. I don't want to force things on you. Sorry. People get so mad.
So I want to start off by saying that everything that Cutlet said is a legitimate concern that I also have about the potential for what insurance can be. And there is so much in my brain that is sitting on the fact that they have not mentioned upgrades. They have not mentioned tier 2, tier 3, etc. They have only mentioned, you get your ship or you get your money, depending if you have the warranty or not. And you get custom components back. There is still so much caveat to what that could be. And I want to point out, I don't want you to get upgrades. That is where all of that stuff comes back into it. If I'm only going to get a tier 1 version of the weapon, I will go back to Mike to get that tier 2 version, that tier 3 version, whatnot.
Yes.
And that's how it should be. As always, going back to Eve, one of my favorite things they do with their insurance is if you pay for tier 1 insurance, you pay for insurance highest level on a tier 1 ship, you'll get a fair chunk of change back relative to the cost of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
True.
If it is a tier 2 or tier 3 ship, insurance is not worth it at all. Not remotely, because you get nothing. I love that. It means if you want to just spam garbage, you can. But if you want the edge, the risk is there. And so I'd love to see CIG adopt that where, cool, you can do exactly what you're doing right now, but upgrades, like higher tiers, are punishment if you lose them.
Go to the crafters, go to the you want us to be symbiotic together. The example we gave is Cutlet does not play the way I do. I will never, well, I won't say never because I definitely would, but I will never fly with Cutlet's fleet. I will fly with mine, and we will interact with each other, maybe never in person, only through a story UI. But when my little the most satisfying thing, I've never played a game that is more satisfying than this. This has been, I don't know why, but when I am just doing nothing in Eve and then I hear blink and I see plus 5 million. Oh my God, it's so satisfying.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Well, and then I go and then I look and I go, what sold? And then I go, oh, okay, that sold. And then you're like, people are using
for a second,
this.
I thought you were about to say, oh, nothing sold. I just lost my ship, and that's the insurance coming back.
No. That is the opposite. It's the same sound, but the opposite feeling. But yeah, the idea of I'm doing something, I'm making something that people are using. And if Cutlet's example becomes a reality, which they really need to clarify that it will or it won't, is the thing that I fear. I can't tell if they completely removed pay to win from this game or almost completely removed it, or they just made it worse. I can't tell.
I think they made it worse.
I think they may have.
That's where I want to interrupt you.
Yeah,
because that's what I was willing to say next, and it's probably the shittiest thing like I'm going to say in regard to like all this podcast. It's like close to Star Citizen refund stakes, but I think that was a pure money grab shill thing, marketing thing they did on the CitizenCon. They basically flip 180 without saying it. What they actually said, from LTI being a minor convenience, we are now telling you that anything, like, guys, forget about the LTI. It doesn't really matter anymore. What we are saying you from now on, whenever you pledge to any ship with any type of insurance, you're jumping from minor convenience, what LTI was, to a major advantage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the feeling. I'm sorry to be like that negative, but that's the feeling I got from that part of presentations.
Do
From
you still
Yeah.
feel that way if
I do still feel that way, because
what Croncy
what they
said is
said.
true?
Sorry, what? Who said? Croncy?
Like, yeah, like I know you personally care, like, hey, I want people to lose ships. We know that's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
So if you get the ship back, tier 0 or tier 1, whatever the minimum is,
Yeah, whatever the
if
base
you
is.
get all the upgraded components back at their tier 0 or tier 1 state, if
Yeah.
you get the shit that's inside your ship, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't. I kind of think that
does that change your mind? Is basically what I'm asking.
it's like, obviously there is black and white, and there are so many steps in between. You can do like, you can implement so many systems to kind of sit somewhere in between as your game between like black and white. And I just feel without this system, like I definitely agree with Croncy, that would be like one of the ways, like one of the solutions.
That's a really good solution, I think.
It
But,
solves that
like,
without changing anything, but there are things
it's
you
like-
can do that change it,
Yeah.
Basically, I feel like we are already now, what we are doing right now, we are building workarounds before the game is even out yet with all those systems. We are already thinking of the workarounds that will try to smooth out the broken core.
Yeah.
And that's literally
from the
what
core.
Star Citizen is about. Like,
Yeah.
the entire development of it. Like, come out with some idea that just doesn't work in an MMO world, and then keep like doing workarounds for years to make it somehow work. And it
Until
literally
they-
feels the
Until
same
they
way.
do a convention where they just go, you know what, guys, we're just gonna make a regular MMO for the most part, and then obviously they screwed up this insurance thing. I think.
Yeah. So the insurance thing, like, I see people are saying like, oh, it's illegal stuff and all that. You gotta understand, if it's illegal stuff, then probably the only legal obligation they have is to give you back the stock ship.
Yeah.
No one
Yep.
ever made them forced them saying that the warranty
Would give you
will
back your
apply
components.
to upgraded stuff.
Yeah.
It is just not, right? There is nothing legal about that stuff. That was a pure marketing move to force you buy all the ships you want to fly with the pledge store, so you automatically get like warranty on it, and then make warranty possible to do in game, as they said, but extremely difficult, right? So
I want to.
why not just not make warranty to to stock, like literally what you promised, right?
Yeah.
Do a warranty to a stock stuff, and then you can get insure tier 2 and tier 3, right? Like make better insurances. But then
Can
just
I stop you? I think people are confused. I'm just seeing some people in chat that are slightly confused. Is now the game automatically provides you with a warranty? Oh, well, no. The pledge store only applies you with a warranty, where previously the entire game provided you with a warranty at all times. The warranty was never separated out. CIG never did the thing where you got your money back only for the ship.
Mhm.
They made a change. That is what Cutlet is pointing out. You used to always get your stock ship back if you had insurance. The decision of whether or not you were getting your components back was upgraded insurance. This idea of saying if you buy a ship on the pledge store, you now always get that ship back. And a warranty is a very special thing that you will be limited to if you only buy a $45 package. You'll be limited to it on that package. Then you will get your one for completing the main story quest or so. And then however many you're capable of earning in the game by super grinding or whatever it will happen to be. It will be a hard thing to get is what they made it sound. But it will be not hard if you swipe your credit card. That is the point he's making, okay? For the people that are confused, is they made a change. They changed something that they had never really talked about doing before, from my understanding. Please jump in on me and correct me if I'm wrong, but that split out is quite shit. because
and it's
it
like
makes
the main
pledge store very powerful.
yeah, because I don't really care how it's easy to play for other players and whatever conveniences they are like having for money.
Yeah.
My problem with this is those conveniences kill the player-driven interactions and the
Yes.
market.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Eve, as an example, has a lot of player convenience if you are willing to swipe the card. You swipe the card, you get your skills up. You buy like
Yep.
injectors.
Yep.
You swipe the card, you can literally sell those plaxes for ISK for
Yep.
money. It's a like there is a ratio. People trade it. You just swipe the card, you get the premium currency, and you
Eve
just
is
go
pay to
to
win
the,
too.
yeah, it's pay to win.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whenever you swipe the card in Eve to get the plexes, which is, for those who don't know, the premium currency, and then you trade those plexes, let's say, for normal currency, for ISK, and then you buy the stuff with it, the moment you lose that stuff, no one gives a fuck.
It's gone.
Your freaking problem. It's gone. And you have to go to the player-driven market once again with either another swipe or grinding. It doesn't matter. It's like your problem.
Yeah.
That's the whole like difference. Like this logic kills the player interaction.
Yes. And I agree with that. And it's the idea of, if you are going to insert pay to win in the game, which it is in Eve as well, and this insertion of pay to win also exists in Star Citizen, or just swiping. We'll just call it swiping, whatever. Like, I don't want to put the super negative connotation on it, because people always get super hyper fixated on that. If you swipe for gold or UEC in Star Citizen, and that's their main funding, like it is in Eve, then the money stays. The money that Cutlet swiped for goes to me, and it stays with the players, and it rotates through us, and it funnels out through things like the insurance payments and like other sales tax or whatever happens to be in the game, your death tax, however they want to do it. It will cycle out and it will recycle back in through questing and other things, and the money stays together, and the game stays balanced, and it stays fun even while people are paying to win. This one is people are paying not to lose.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is you got to be comfortable with losing some things. There's got to be some risk. If you take the risk out, you take the game out, right?
And no matter how much people say, but yeah, they can make that insurance like tier 2, cost a lot. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I have to spend twice the price of the ship on insurance. The fact is that money is going nowhere. It's not going to other players. Other players do not benefit from me losing the ship.
Yes.
It's the only thing that it
even to
does.
support what you're saying, that you're technically getting like infinite copies of that component.
Yeah.
So of course
you're
it's worth it.
duping.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting. Like, I'm so happy you said that. Bring it all the way back to the conversation that we just had. We ignored something completely. Well, we didn't ignore it completely, but there's a huge factor here. Those guns that I made, given all of the things that they said at CitizenCon, my guns will be completely unique to me. That group of guns that I made that day will be completely and entirely different from the next batch of guns that I make, most likely because material quality exists. And the material quality of the materials that I use to make those guns, there might be a whole litany of components and items that I'm using to make those guns. That quality will be entirely different. You have now just duped the items that I created by paying on the pledge store. That needs clarification. If we go back to what Croncy said, and we go back to tier 0 or tier 1, and you get the base level component, that argument, that fear of mine is entirely removed.
Yeah.
But then,
but
not entirely. Let me finish one tiny second. If you have earned a military grade A component through grinding a quest line, do we care if you get that back or not? Or do we only care about crafted items and the player economy loop? So, for example, I have went through a quest line And I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Do I get the components? Do I get the blueprint to craft the components? I don't know. We don't know. Let's assume that I get the component. Let's say I get a really good military grade A quantum drive from working with the UEE. It is a unique component that I had to grind for. If I lose that, I'm getting that component at base. Are we okay with that? I would say yes, because I can't think of a better solution.
Grind it again. Like
again, grind
like
it again, I guess, yeah.
If we look in EVE how those like upgraded components work, right? You have the reputation with certain factions
LP or whatever,
that you want to LP, right? So you have to keep grinding to gain that currency, like loyalty points, right? And then loyalty points combined with money, you can either get the blueprints for unique stuff, or you can get the stuff itself without blueprints. But it's a repeatable loop that you can infinitely do, and you can saturate the market or keep it to yourself. And then those items go into this big loop of people getting them, fighting with them, losing them, someone looting it, something is getting lost, etc., etc.
Even better, from that point, upgrading it.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Right?
That's like you take the base and then you upgrade it. Yeah. So
to touch on really quickly on Mike's example, I think it is a better assumption to assume you'll get the blueprint, as that's what they used in the video.
Correct.
They used the assumption that you would get the blueprint for the Hornet or the Arrow, whatever it was. And Hornet. So then cool. Your grinding is just getting the materials to get it back again.
I'm pretty sure there will be multiple options. If you're a crafter. If you're a crafter, like you can get a blueprint,
craft,
and they will also allow you. Okay, like you're not a crafter, so you grind it without the reputation for us, the loyalty points. Let's call them like that. Before CG comes up with a proper naming for that, you crafted the loyalty points. If you want the ship, sure, we can provide it. Here is the cost of the ship plus loyalty points. Get the ship, no blueprint, right? So you don't care about like you don't deal with crafting. But it's just going to cost you that we give you the complete ship.
It's gone. When it's gone,
yeah, when it's gone, it's gone. Yeah,
and unless it's a situation where I applied my in-game warranty to that ship, and I'm okay with there being very limited in-game warranties where it's like, this is my baby, I never want to lose my baby. Okay.
Yeah, because it is limited. You can only apply it to so many things. Like, you can only transfer it in a small window, right?
I don't like it at all. But okay, I put my hands up. I'm fine. Okay. Like, you want to do that? You want people to, like, this is my baby. I named my ship. I never want to lose my Millennium Falcon ever. Okay. Fine, dude.
What CAG could do is they could specific things that they never, like, let's say, sold on the shop, right? And like special versions of ships. What they could theoretically do is just prohibit applying warranties to those ships. Because there is no legal stuff with that. It's something acquired in game, and they could just prohibit applying warranties to that stuff. So the only thing you get is money.
Yeah,
right.
I got a little. I did a little research. We don't know if it's true or not, but I did do a little research, and I don't have it on the screen. Just go look up the Death of a Spaceman post. I could bring it up in 2 seconds, so I could do that as well.
Are you going back to what we had like few podcasts before about the lawfulness of the system?
Correct, and it is still up there on their website.
Yeah, that's another point I wanted to bring later, but
let's bring it now. If we go to a place like Pyro, where all the fighting is going to happen, do I care? I do. But do I do. You know what? Never mind. I do. I was going to say, do I care if Space Dad, he's got 14 kids, 5 dogs, and he doesn't participate in the like super min-maxy loops? Do I care if he gets his stuff back or not? Yes.
You have to care.
You have to care, because how does that day, my example of I am playing EVE 20 years later, I'm 2 months in, and I am crafting the lowest level shit, and I'm crafting it in nullsec, where the high level players should be. They're still buying my stuff. It still matters to me.
Just saying, how many Space Dads are in nullsec? Shit ton.
Yeah.
Actually, the majority of Star
Citizen a lot of Space Dads are in a null space because
No, he's
like the
talking
big
about Eve.
alliances cover their
Yeah.
asses, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's where I get to do end game content with the safety of the lowest end content places,
Yeah.
where we won't have that in Star Citizen, from what I could tell. Maybe a little bit with this shield system thing, where like if Zergs are able to control it or whatever. That's for another
It's
podcast,
whatever.
probably.
That's
But
another podcast.
we don't know. We don't know what'll happen with that. But so you might have that feeling slightly. But I was going to bring up the point of, if we lose components in places like Nyx and like in
Pyro.
your warranty does not apply to pyro. Or I think the best way to say it is your warranty for
It's not warranty, it's tiers.
whatever. Yeah,
insurance.
I have no idea.
It's important. It's
I know.
important. It's important.
getting
We
your
have to
shit
phrase
back.
it really correctly here.
I know, because the
Yeah, well,
commenters lose their minds. What is it?
You could literally say you just get you can only get tier 1 in like
Yeah, exactly.
in those
Can you
zones.
bring that
It's
up?
just
Can you
success
find it?
back.
Yeah, I have it.
Can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
find it, Mike?
I have it right here.
Yep.
No. The Death of a Spaceman post.
Yeah, it's
Can
on
you
the
find it?
YouTube video. They've got the full tier like.
No. I know what he's talking about. I'll bring up the Death of a Spaceman post.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
that would be really good.
Oh,
So
sorry,
so
wrong,
people can see.
wrong scene. There you go, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, Lawless being tier 1 only would be a great way to like also help with this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It brings more meaning to things.
All right.
I think that's important to bring that up. But it could be the only saving.
Insurance is mentioned 11
way.
times in this post. Okay. Let's bring that up.
I think unlawful would be the keyword.
I forgot what unlawful may not be the word. So
Lower.
I'm just
There
gonna
would be a white helmet. There would be a white helmet picture. You will see.
I think this is
Scroll
it.
down.
Yep, here it is.
Sorry, I just
Here
saw
it's coming.
a player will be able to take out a small loan. When can I start taking interest from other players? Come on, CIG.
Here we go. You will have lost your cargo and any upgrades unless you manage to insure those and you were destroyed in a system with a risk level at or below your insurance rating. They later go in to say that a system like Pyro will always have an higher insurance rating than any insurance that you can possibly get at some point.
Lower rating, you mean? Not higher.
Whatever. It'll be impossible to insure in a system like that.
Yeah. Basically, you will get tier 1.
Yep.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're still like required to give people back their shit.
That would partially be a solution the moment you go into like PvP area, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you get warnings out the wazoo.
All you're gonna get is your stock ship back. And it's up to you. So I guess it would separate a little bit. So again, talking about the quote unquote space dads with 69 dogs.
Yeah.
If all they want to do is chill in the Stanton or Terra, doing whatever, they're gonna be kind of secured from like ganking, I would say. High-sec ganking in that regard.
But
it's
if they
not
die
that
to
I'm
an NPC, it still should have that feeling of loss, because then what does the Space Dad Crafter do?
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
That's my problem. That's the thing. So like that's why I don't like all of the systems, but like I guess it could be a certain middle ground, like and then yeah, what the space that crafter, then space that crafter.
He got it right, I think. The idea that you get everything back, but you don't get the upgrades back.
Yeah, the tiers. Yeah, but then the question is, why do we even want that? Like, if you had like tier 3 components, right? And you get back the ship with all of the same outfit, but tier 1. Why would you even want that, you'll throw it away anyway. It's like basically
you-
duplicating
Because you want a ship
duplicating,
that's
like-
at least you want a ship that's at least usable.
yeah,
right?
but the
That's why.
stock version will be at least usable anyway.
It should be.
Probably
And
still worse than those ones that you put on there.
maybe
yeah, it's questionable. That
it's
will
all
be very
speculation.
dependent on the stock
Yeah.
setups, but
That's true.
it's like I just feel it will generate those tier 1 or tier 0 items that you will just throw away anyway. So why not just give you
Do we
like,
combine Croncy's
money?
ideas? Do we combine Croncy's idea, which I think we agree is good, maybe not perfect, with the idea of some of the good components are not insurable?
I'd love that. I would love like certain components, certain ships, certain tiers, even to just not be like if that's the way you go,
Because
just
we
not be
don't.
insurable at all. Or
The
not
pledge
be
store
typical.
does not play
Guys,
a role.
I'll
in...
interrupt you. Sorry. That's where I'll just smash right through. I
Okay.
think I'm fine with everything being insurable. It's just the warranty problem.
The warranty.
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah,
I-
when we say it, I think within the whole
Fuck.
context, that's what we're talking about. We're all okay with money coming back.
That's a very big question. So, for example, let me put an example. So we're in Pyro, right?
Mhm.
And we have a warranty and all that and top insurance, but like the tiers of insurance just don't work in Pyro. So you will get basically the stock ship when you lose it, right? And then
Mhm.
when you're not in Pyro, you have everything up, and then man, it's quite confusing. Yeah, it's quite confusing. So anyway, my point is, why not just give people money back if we're lowering them to tier 0 anyway? Just give them money and they use it to buy stuff from players. Like I'm not against like being able to insure multiple tiers. I'm against giving out those components. So like if you die in Pyro, none of the insurance besides the basic tier 1 works. If you die in Stanton, let's say in a green zone, like your tiers work, so you just get more money from the insurance and the stock ship as a warranty, and then you go and use that money to operate with the market.
Yeah, so you just don't want components to be part of the conversation. I think that's fine. That's what it should be. Components shouldn't be part of the conversation. You know,
Just
They
get your
shouldn't
hold
be- they
back
shouldn't- they
because
should
we know
really
they
apply to
can't do
any of
anything
this.
about that.
yeah, and
So-
then it solves all the sort of problems.
But the
we see.
biggest
So, like,
cheer was when they said components at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
That was the biggest
like
cheer.
if they want to get a teddy bear on their bed, I'm fine with that. I don't really care, unless the teddy bear is super unique and you will
I
start
do
duping.
think decorations do have to be a part of it because it'll be so fucking annoying
Yeah.
if I have to reset up my ship with like whatever decorations. But
Yeah.
I think
I
it
think
should.
that's
I think another solution to that would be like save the preset, how you decorated it. But if there are unique items that like developers or players don't want to like be duped, you have to obtain those items again, and then you just one click like set that up, set the ship up by the blueprint of all the customizations, like the chairs whatsoever, and then it will request from you having those items in your inventory. So it's not going to spawn them. You have to have them basically in your like cargo.
Well, hold on. Let me
the
jump in for a
station
second.
to
then.
re-equip it, right?
Let me jump in for just a second. We know that they are going. This is the only situation where items apply to this ridiculous pledge store option. Is you have things that you purchase on the pledge store, like posters, like chairs, like dumb shit like that. Okay, which is not dumb shit to everybody. It's not dumb shit even to me. But those you're getting, it's fine. You're gonna get you're gonna get that stuff back. If I want to decorate my ship in a certain way, you're gonna and I paid money for it, I'm gonna get it back. So having it in your inventory, those will always be in your inventory probably. So that is a moot point for some of those items.
I would prefer being for a price. Still,
I think you'll pay you'll pay a price. They're saying you're going to go to a kiosk or something. I'm sure that we're going to pay a penalty for losing some stuff, but and it'll probably be a part of whatever you're paying. Maybe you're paying ahead of time to not, with your insurance.
Someone said in chat one of the ideas that I really like, but I know it's never gonna happen.
Mm,
All the shit bottom pledge store should be blueprints. I agree with that so
Yeah,
much,
Yeah.
but
that'd be
it's
a
never
really
gonna
cool way to
happen.
do it.
Like I just saw that message randomly, and
Yeah.
dude, I'm with you 100%. Like all the ships we've pledged for should be just blueprints for those ships that you
Mhm.
basically get in advance, so you don't have to grind for them, but you still gotta like produce them. But it's just
It's not gonna
I know
happen.
it
Yeah. It just
happen,
won't
man.
happen.
It's,
Did you
it
heard them
just won't
cheering?
happen.
They heard them cheering, right?
Yeah.
There's 5,000 people losing their minds that they don't have to play the game.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, my
it's like
honestly,
I was
I think the
sitting there.
reason most
I
people
was
were
sitting there.
cheering.
Why are you cheering, guys? Like literally, I had this desperate moment of like my sanity. Like I had like the cold sweat like going down like across my whole body because I saw them cheering, and like you're like degenerates. You are cheering for the death of the gameplay.
Yeah.
What
It's
are you?
it's
Not
because they
death of a
finally have a plan.
spaceman. It's
They haven't
not
talked
death
about
of a
insurance for
spaceman.
50
It's not
years.
death of a spaceship.
No,
It's
they cheered
death
at the
of Star
moment.
Citizen.
They cheered
Yeah,
at
they
that
care
moment.
now. They don't think what will happen like 1-2 years into the future. They cannot understand. They'll be stuck in the Elite Dangerous gameplay loop, right? Where you have like billions on your account. You've spent 2 years grinding engineering to, which is ridiculous in ED, and to upgrade all your ship. What fucking now? You know,
That's when the game
It's-
died, is when everybody did all that stuff. They got tired, and we just don't
Yeah.
want that to happen in this game. But I think there's probably not a middle ground. I think you have to we would have to go more towards Cutlet and more towards loss than maybe a lot of the people in this community is comfortable with, to ensure that the game's economy and player base is engaged with each other for the long term. And that's what we're trying to talk about. Tell me that you're going to play this game for 20 years in a row
No.
if you never lose your stuff.
No.
If you
It's
never
just gonna
have
be
to
boring.
if you never have to go out and buy it again or things like that. People have played WoW for 20 years. But again,
but
let's
WoW
go back
is
to
a
that.
different logic.
Do we want that logic? Do you want that?
No,
Do you want
me
that?
personally, no.
No, and I don't think anybody does for a game
I think
like
there
Star
are people
Citizen.
who do. I think there are people who do.
Some, but I think
definitely think there are people who
they're
do.
in a significant minority. Where
Yeah.
there, you have the sim people. The sim people must be arguing for what we're talking about here. And you have your old school MMO players who are definitely arguing for what we're talking about here. And then you have guys who are old school MMO players but don't have time. They're probably arguing for some of the stuff that we are talking about here. And I don't know.
There is an interesting argument: death of a spaceman equals death of a spaceship. I think death of a spaceman is overall a degenerate concept, in
I think
my
it's
opinion.
stupid.
I think all of it has to be like death of an asset or death of an assets, is ship or not, and that's the main thing that should go in Star Citizen.
Mhm.
Death of a spaceman is just like all of those talks. Oh, you have to create a new character. I've been saying this for years. Just psychologically breaking the link between a player and their character is a bad move in the first place.
Do you
like-
see this? I just
Yeah,
noticed this.
I've read this. I've read this recently, like from start to end, and it just made me smile a lot.
This
in
one
a bad way.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And
all of this year.
the fact
Yeah.
that they just want to kill your character for no reason never made sense for me. Like, it's just the psychology of gaming. Like, you don't want to break the link, the connection person builds over years or months with their character. And like, oh, that's the whole point, so you care about it. No. Players will die even if they care at their best, because they're gonna get ganked, they're gonna get whatever. Don't break that link. You want a death tax? Sure, come up with something different. Like, the loss of the asset could be a death tax enough to care about not dying. But just like all of this, like you will have to create a new character is BS for me personally. That was like a little bit off topic from what we were talking about. Just someone brought that up. I saw it and I just wanted to comment on it.
I think it's something that they, similar to how they finally touched on crafting, they finally touched on insurance this year. They need to do a Death of the Spaceman 1.0, what does it actually mean thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everything that they talked about in Death of the Spaceman was way before I started playing, and I started playing in 2020, right? It sounds terrible and boring, and I don't like it. But yeah, I'm 100% okay with losing money, losing blueprints, which would be a great idea.
Yes,
CNG
that's
could do
another
that.
thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think blueprints should be. I don't mind as much that they're locked to your account, but
Let's
at
get to
the
blueprints later. We're gonna go off topic so bad right now.
we might
Let's-
not even
yeah.
get to blueprints today. Let's be honest. I don't know how long we've been going.
I
Probably
want.
got
I want to cover
we
it
got about
at
half
least
an hour left.
briefly. Yeah, I want to cover it at least briefly, but let's like wrap up this part first.
Let's say our final 30-second elevator pitch of what would need to change to make you very happy with the insurance system, but ignore ships being destroyed that you bought on the pledge store because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, personally, me, all unlawful systems, only tier 1 insurance with a stock ship, warranty or not. Any like lawful systems, warranty applies only to tier 1 insurance. All the insurances above tier 2, tier 3, whatever, should be monetary only. So you're
No
getting
warranty
paid
applied.
UEC. Yeah, you're getting you're getting UEC to, well, with a premium, of course, right? So you have to add up your more for the loss, but you get a bunch of money and you go to the player driven market and you can get relatively same stuff that you got before, right? That would be like something for me that I would consider like okay, I guess. Yeah, I'm done with my 30-second pitch.
Croncy, go ahead.
It just no, yeah, that's a fantastic way to do it. It makes it. They're looking at doing economy now. Finally, that they have an idea of what crafting is. Everything that Cutlet just said feeds the economy so well and makes it a good part of the game, an enjoyable part of the game for people at any level of playtime. If you're playing 2 hours a week, 300 hours a week, I don't even know if a week has 300 hours. It lets you be able to do stuff and participate in the greater scheme of the game. So yeah, I would be fine with that 100%.
Yeah, I just want the game to be able to be as successful in year 10 for a player who's starting out as one who is starting out on day one and who has started out on day one in year 10. To be as enjoyable and provide joy. And I don't see a world where if you never lose anything or those things don't degrade or the player needs to be. It feels like there's no negative to having purchased something on the web store and that it's only positives. And the pledge store, I want Star Citizen to make billions of dollars. I don't want them to make millions. I want them to make billions of dollars. I want them to do it in a way that has the least negatives on the player base. I want them to make billions because there's millions of people playing and that they're enjoying the game. And I don't want the game to be affected by the way you decide to make your millions. Okay? And right now you are, and you just potentially made it worse. So I want to leave it with, you need to come back with the first ISC and clarifying every bit of your intentions here and have a very boring ISC with more PowerPoints if you want, all about insurance and what you're going to do. I don't want to come back with the behind the scenes of CitizenCon. I want to come back with starting to answer the questions from CitizenCon. And the biggest question that I have is this. Because I did just say, make a video that I think Star Citizen can be my forever game based on all the other aspects.
Yep.
But this, which is why I went, insurance will make or break everything. If they screw this up, it breaks everything.
I also might think that the Tarkov insurance could play partial
It's
partial
hard, though.
implementation of Tarkov insurance
Tarkov's got a
could play in.
timer.
So yeah. So let's
But it's also like
say
a chance. that you
if we're
guys-
talking about the
Yeah.
secure systems, right, like Stanton, where like higher tiers of insurance in our system would work, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whenever like you're getting destroyed, there is a timer. Like you claim the insurance, and if your wreck wasn't looted by, let's say, other players or NPCs like they do right now in Tarkov 2, if their
Yep.
components are left there, so partially you would get whatever components insurance company was able to recover, you will get them back. What they weren't able to recover, you get money for them. So that
Yeah.
could be also like already like a complication
Yep.
on top of the core, which adds convenience, but it doesn't like doesn't take away, from the logic, right, of getting this rotation. That could be a thing too. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Sorry, I'm just reading a post. Apparently, they're doing a patch today with 3-hour time place test of Save Stanton. I'm gonna lose my mind soon.
Why?
I don't want to make weekend review anymore. If there's something happening 7 days a week, it's actually killing me.
I mean, it's too much.
Yeah, I'm
Stuff
gonna
like
have
for
to be up until
success.
1 o'clock in the morning every single night dealing with this stuff. It's yeah. I don't want to sound complainy. It's because it is. I have not had a day off where I haven't worked on weekend review in a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, rough.
So it's actually super awesome because it's the opposite of complaining. CIG is going so fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's like
Mike's gonna get some time off leave in lieu. Thanks
But
to
I'm burning
CIG
out.
for all the extra work.
I'm burning out for sure. It's like I'm just thinking about like how many hours did I just lose today because of this patch? I thought I
Yeah.
was good for once. I thought I
Yeah.
was gonna have a Sunday and a Monday. And
Well,
now
you
I don't.
like to grind, man.
No, I like to grind
You said
video
in
games.
MMOs, might as well grind in RL. You see, I'm not doing this, and I'm like fucking below 100 euro ND still. So it definitely makes you grow as a content creator. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
But there's consequences for that, and I'm feeling the burn right now. Is all I'm saying. I'm actually
Oh yeah,
feeling the burn.
I know that.
And it just diarrheaed out of my mouth. Is things are going great. I'm super happy, but I'm feeling burned. I'm feeling the burn, getting toasty.
Just remember this moment in 6 months' time when nothing's happened for multiple weeks.
You're absolutely right, and I will. I will.
Okay, I have one question, Mike. We all know I like to talk a lot, right?
Mhm.
I have one question now. Do you want me to talk about another way of insurance could work or not? Because that's gonna take another like 10 minutes
Can you
or
make
5 at least.
Can you make it 5?
I can make it 5.
Make it 5,
So
and then we'll get to
all
callers
right.
for the people that are waiting.
Yeah. All right. So quickly,
Maybe one
this
caller.
is
Maybe
I don't
two.
know. I don't know where to specifically put this logic. It's like a standalone logic, I would guess. I would say, and not in relation to everything we said before. But I had this idea in my head for years now. How would you possibly make a LTI insurance work? That's before warranties was even a thing. How would you make LTI insurance work with a player-driven market? So I always use the Gladius as an example. Imagine you have a Gladius with LTI insurance purchased on the Pledge store.
Okay.
You lose that, but that like Gladius with the LTI insurance in your Pledge store are actually two different entities. It is the Gladius, just to ship the Gladius, and LTI insurance for the Gladius as a separate entity. So you get that things combined, you lose the ship, the ship is done, exploded, you go and claim it, and what happens is you get the average market price minus the premium for the Gladius, like the money, right, to get yourself a new one. And the LTI insurance Gladius LTI insurance as a token gets disconnected from that chip and put in your insurance book. So now you have that token of Gladius LTI as a separate entity, and you have the money for the Gladius. So you go to a player-driven market, you get a new Gladius, you probably have to add up your own cash due to the premium, right? You buy a new Gladius, and now you have a Gladius in your hangar, and you have a Gladius LTI token in your insurance book. So you
I
can
don't hate
either
the idea,
apply
but I
to,
hate it.
Yeah,
Can I tell you why? Because it's
yeah,
taking
go
you
ahead.
5 minutes to explain it.
To explain it. Yeah.
That's
Well,
the problem.
it's like,
it's not a bad
yeah,
idea.
I just
explain
wanted to get it
a
out
new
there.
player.
Yeah, it's
You know what I
probably
mean?
hard, but new players shouldn't think about it. It's mostly for the guys like us. But yeah, it's a weird idea, but it could work theoretically.
I could see it
But
for
yeah,
sure.
I think it's kind of outdated with all we've heard from CAG. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to get it out here like once and for all that I've said it, and be done with it.
Yeah.
It could work, but probably with a new system it won't.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but with the current, it's kind of weird and doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. But I
it's
definitely don't
it's
hate
kind
it.
of outdated. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Whatever. Colors, right?
Yeah, I think so. But give me a moment, and I'll try to
talk about the blueprints.
Yeah, go ahead and start talking about blueprints for a few seconds while I get callers ready.
Yeah,
I think blueprints can be fine, but I want you to lose some on death.
Yeah,
Some
so
amount of them.
exactly. I think the
like
whole story
random?
with
Possibly.
Ooh, okay.
no, not random. I think like the whole story that we've described with insurance, kind of the same logic applies to blueprints, because if they're gonna do the blueprint logic the way they described in the presentation, I think it will kill in like year or two. It would kill this gameplay of inventing and like researching, because probably not many people will go like, I want to research all the blueprints in the world, and they will spend like 5 years doing it. People will specialize, and when people specialize, I think the huge problem is, let's say again, Mike specializes on repeaters. He mastered those blueprints to the best tier, and then what? I definitely think blueprints should be limited runs, or I think there was someone in my chat who had another idea. Whenever you create an advanced blueprint for the same item that is like tier 3 whatsoever, it has an chance to get corrupted, basically. And every time you craft an item, that chance increases until like it's just gone, and you have to go through the reinvention like process all over again to get you like engaged in this like blueprint gameplay, even if you specialize on a specific item. And the fact that you cannot lose them right now, they're attached to your character, is like super weird. So you're done that gameplay loop, and that's it. The gameplay loop is closed for you. Like all that effort.
I think
Bro,
it's bold
somebody
to
in
assume
chat
you would
said
be able to get full like experience with every blueprint over the course of your gameplay. I would want that not to be the case, regardless.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat said, I have a great idea. Let's wait and see. I have a great idea. Don't join a podcast of a bunch of people who are just talking about the video game, because we don't
welcome
have
to theory crafting, guys.
In 2024, after waiting 12 years of waiting to see. So
I have an answer for that statement. If you wait and see, the moment you see, it might be pretty ugly,
or it's
and
too
you
late.
will have, and it's too late. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to be too late. I'll take my chances talking about this and voicing my problems in a slight chance that maybe one of the devs will be watching this and they take note. Like, I'll take my chances. If you don't like it, like,
just don't watch.
We've
it's that
been
simple.
waiting.
I don't know what else to say to a person like that. If this type of content bothers you, it's not for you. It's like 3 dudes just theory crafting about a video game, and you don't want us theory crafting about a video game. That just don't want. Like, I never say don't watch to viewers, but I don't have a better answer for that kind of response. Right? It's just so weird
Mike,
to me.
didn't you know this is a podcast about a finished video game?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't know this was an Eve podcast. That's crazy. I totally changed
really
everything.
because we talk about Eve every week. It should have.
Well, yeah,
It should have.
It is
I mean,
now. It is now.
But the problem is you have to, because that's the living
gold
example
standard.
of
Yeah.
yeah, it's a gold standard. It's a living example of a fully player-driven economy with blueprints, with crafting, with everything, and it
spaceships,
fucking works.
Yeah,
It
just
fucking
works.
works.
It
Yeah.
doesn't work perfectly though. Star Citizen can learn from their mistakes.
Nothing works perfectly.
Yeah.
They did so many mistakes across the years, including advanced blueprints,
Yeah.
BPOs, originals that were infinite and that were advanced, and they ran away from that idea. They tried to mitigate the damage that created as much as they could, and they ran away from that idea, right? Because and that's where I also like take my inspiration in whatever I'm saying. It's a bad idea. All the advanced stuff have to be finite. You have to do the research. You have to work with a research lab, whatever, science guild. They'll give you research points whatsoever. You do the research. You like have to get some special materials to do the research. So you have to cooperate with miners or with whomever.
I'm just gonna jump in and say I don't like the idea of my stuff getting corrupted or my blueprints eventually running out. I like the idea of BPOs and BPCs in Eve. BPOs being they don't have any runtime on them. They never die. You never technically lose them.
Well, that's the basic stuff.
No.
Yeah, but the tier 2 you have to like create, right? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. That's fine. Whatever. We could do. You could go that route. Maybe if you want. I don't care if we do or if we don't. What I actually care about is the idea of if my base gets raided or destroyed or whatever, it's lootable. Like that's not even like their example that they gave is it's just on the website now. Like I have claimed it. It's now mine. I never lose it. Is an interesting take on it, and I don't know if I like it as much.
Yeah, it definitely should be like data pads, you know, with something.
Or if you loot the crafting station that has the things in it. You open it up and it's filled with the data pads in there. Whatever, you know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're
able to imagine at some point they're going to have to look at it because when they talk about you're going to be able to specialize into certain blueprints. What if I want to change my specialization? How's that going to work in terms of this current system that they mentioned where the blueprint
that's now the only way you even
just
do
stop
anything
using the old ones and move on and earn the new ones or whatever.
So that's what I'm saying. Can you get 2 Hornet?
You can get everything.
Right?
By their logic, you can
hopefully
like in X amount of time, you can have on your character all the blueprints in the world. And there will be infinite.
No, specifically Cutlet, because I think you're misunderstanding me. I'm saying I have 1 Hornet that I have super specialized into maneuverability, whatever, right? Like I've gotten it all the way tier 5. I've researched super maneuverability. I now want to get a Hornet. Like that turns out that's shit. That's not meta. I now want to get a Hornet that has high tier power capabilities, right? How are they going to mechanically solve that without them being physical blueprints?
Well, I'm not even. Well, you could have just a menu with all your blueprint variants, but at this point, from what they've described, I'm not even sure you would be able to do it like you said. It's just going to be. It's just going to be like a tier 3 Hornet would just have like better stats, and then even better stats with better materials. But they never said you would be able to make it more maneuverable or more this.
Yes,
it's just going to be better.
They did say you would be able to specialize certain when you tier up your blueprints. You're able to specialize them into certain things. So that implies the existence
is definitely something
of your higher tier blueprints being different.
Okay.
And then when you tier up the blueprint, the higher the quality material of the ones that raise those things. Like they, again, instead of using a Hornet, using the FPS weapon is the best example because that's the one that they gave. There was fire rate, there was health, there was all sorts of different things there. You would choose different base components to raise up those different values. So that's the answer to that one. And the only thing that I think is missing from our conversation that sort of applies to what you were saying, Croncy, is I want the capability of farming 3 Hornet blueprints so I can have 3 crafting stations running runs of 20 of them so I can make 60 Hornets in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And they just have to be limited. That's it. You have to invent specialize, and then either it's going to be like a set amount of runs like Eve does, or another idea. As I said, I liked someone voiced it back in my chat that it has like a corruption chance, and more you run the blueprint, the more chances it's gonna get corrupted, and it's like RNG Asian, a little bit of an Asian MMO type thing, right? The more it gets at some point it will just RNG into the corruption, and the blueprint is dead. Any of those ways, it doesn't matter. It just
Even
has
Eve,
to be limited.
Even Eve does that with the invention.
With the muted
With invention,
plasmid.
yeah.
Oh,
Or
with
just invention in
invention and with
general.
muted plasmids. Yeah. So
It's-
it's like invention could be RNG, and the lifetime of the blueprint could be also RNG. And I think it's going to be interesting. People will be constantly doing that, like following the metas and reapplying that, and then you can imprint that blueprint on a data pad, have it with you, trade with someone, like whatever, instead of just it being attached to your character like indefinitely.
You want to know what the
like
difference?
that idea.
You want to know what the difference is between the blueprints that we're talking about and insurance? Is insurance can't change. It has to. They have to get it right the first time. Where blueprints, they can be like, you know what, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas
I agree with that.
with the money on the website, they cannot screw this up. They got to do it right, but they got to do it right without screwing up the game. Blueprints, they can screw up the game because we're going to get crafting before we get 1.0. They can fuck this up 3 times over before getting it right, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
They cannot screw up insurance when 1.0 comes out.
They already screwed up with the promises they did. Now they have to like unscrew it if they want this to work.
Yeah, you can't make it worse. The important thing I want to touch on with blueprints quickly, and we should get to calls if we can, because we've gone for an hour
right
and
after
50.
this. No rebuttal, nothing. We're going
Guys,
to
you knew
callers.
what you signed to when you invited me, all right?
We did.
Sure.
We
I mean,
did.
you're better than most of the callers anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
While I prefer that system for blueprints that we've been talking about, or like just blueprints mattering a lot more, I don't hate the system they mentioned if it takes a long time to research these sorts of blueprints, and it is unreasonable for you to just have every blueprint max tier 5 research. I'm making everything at the best possible value within like a year. It needs to be a really, really long sort of thing in order for the system they mentioned to work.
Yeah, but it's all plays into longevity. At some point, you'll get to the thing where you're not.
At some point, someone's going to have
research,
80
right?
billion, like I was going to say ISK, UEC, and that's the exact same problem. And that you're going to come up against that regardless. The mitigation is, at least in the middle points, it's not too much of an issue.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But again, I think the issue was voiced, and that's the main
see what
thing.
happens.
And it's like up to CAG in the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
All we can do is just yap and hope they listen to us.
We still don't know if CIG's main focus is to deliver a video game that will last a lifetime, or last the length of a typical MMO, 10 to 20 years, or if their desire has shifted at some point to this endless ship sale bullshit that we've been dealing with for however many years. It's hard to tell because of what happened with server meshing, what's still happening with 4.0, and these, we want to do this, but we can only do that. Just the constant pullback, changing the goalposts, moving them, and doing all these things. I mean, towards the end of CitizenCon, I don't want to go into this much, but they obviously moved the goalposts again with these huge space stations and these other things that they say that they want to do, and that was part of the 1.0 thing. No way. Get out of here with that. Stop doing that stuff and build the game and allow it to grow over time or whatever. But like, start with a good foundation. And that's what we're talking about today is the foundation feels a little bit rocky around this insurance thing of you said all these cool things, but then this insurance might contradict that if you don't make some serious clarifications and start working towards those. So that's where we're at. I want to hear what some of the callers think. Guys, I know there's a shit ton of you in waiting. I said at the beginning, we're probably only going to get to 2. So for anybody who's past that, you know, when we have a guest, it's just, that's what happens. This has been the same
Sometimes
for 5
we don't get any
years.
callers when we have guests, so this is special.
Yeah. So this has been the same for 5 years. I know a lot of you guys are new to the show and stuff, but it's just, That's how it is. So I apologize. We're going to bring on Warbotnix now. So I don't know if Warbot can hear us, but Warbot, you're live on Answer the Call.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Warbot.
Hey there. I need to get the first major problem out of the way. First of all, I don't know why you would want to buy from SaltEMike. You should be buying from me.
Yeah.
No, he's
My
dodgy.
remnant guns are
yeah, Mike's dodgy.
10%. 10%
I
better.
Mike, you have to
Yep.
hit
Yep.
show
I'm
non-video.
on it. I'm on it.
Yep.
We're good.
Anyway, he worked it out.
Anyway. But no, all joking aside, I do agree with a lot of the things you guys said because, as mentioned before in previous calls, I love crafting. I was going yay, 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 yay,
Yep.
and then insurance.
Yeah.
You know, at first I was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea, but it's still a little too vague. And two,
Yeah.
what about the duping? Because that
Mhm.
makes my stuff a little bit less special.
More than a
And
little bit.
yeah. Now, there are a few caveats I do want to inject though that I'm okay with them insuring. Things that you acquire through NPC like quest lines,
Mhm.
like character hero gear that let's say this is Mason from Squadron 42's special paint or special like engine design.
Which,
Okay.
worth
that-
noting, just to cut in very quickly, is much more likely now that they said they do want to have a core storyline through 1.0.
yeah. So those things I'm okay with insuring. Things that you would get through NPC like reputation, fine, because that at least there is a plausible cause why the let's call it Geico Insurance is able to acquire that. Like they just go to UE like, hey, Croncy crashed his latest latest
Wait.
racing Mirai. Let's go ahead and get him another
This guy just came on and
Mirai.
shitting on everybody.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
He's
geez.
stealing my business. He's calling you a bad racer. Now say something bad about Cutlet so we can get it out of the way.
Yeah, trash talk me, please. I'm used to that.
Your haircut is amazing.
Damn.
It's not. I know. Thank you.
No, I'm kidding. But overall though, I am hoping to have them build into this a little bit more to just clarify a couple things because one thing is that I do not think player crafted equipment should be insured because there is no like narrative or even like a like logical idea why that item would be insurable. Now we could go Tarkov route where there is a chance one or more of your items can come back, but not all of them. So like you could get level 2, you are guaranteed one of the items randomly. The rest have a chance or lower chance to getting them.
It's kind of like the opposite of EVE Online, where it's when you blow up a ship in EVE, in case people don't know, there's a percentage chance of like 70% of the cargo and components will drop from that ship. Right now, or at least in October, it was a 90% chance. So it was like a big deal. It was like this whole big event where everybody that was dying was dropping all their stuff. And so it's like the opposite of that, like flipped on its head. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how much time I have, but really quick on the blueprints thing. I don't think you should be able to lose your blueprints at Death of the Spaceman. Only because I played a lot of MMOs, especially the Asian ones like Ion, you know, all those things. And I used to run my character 24/7 in university, just having it chuck out 9,999 orichalcum ingots. It is gonna take a while to get every blueprint. You do, and
Well, we hope it will. We hope it will. take a
Don't
long
say
time.
anything absolute, because we don't have any of those.
Yeah.
Well, just from my previous experience, like the fact that you have to go through these quest lines, go through this and that to keep going, it is time consuming. And now we're adulting. I doubt we'll even get to all of them, unless you somehow find a sabbatical for 3 months.
Yeah.
But another factor is like how often are they going to add new items to the game, too.
Yeah.
So there's going to be blueprints for those. Next, for insurance on pledge store items, they actually, like I don't know if they really got rid of the kiosk or not, but for subscriber flare, they did say on stage crafting subscriber flare instead.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think it's going to become blueprints for subscriber gear.
that would be
Mhm.
good. Would we
Yeah.
hate that? I don't hate that.
I'd like
I don't
that.
hate
I don't
it.
hate that at all. Yeah. In fact, like the reason why I have some subscriber gear is like hoping it would be like usable to just craft like, my orgs like, uniforms or something.
Hmm.
So yeah. Um in terms of getting back the entire hull and chassis, I believe it should go down to at least either like the base level, especially the ones you bought in the store because that is the original.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you still have the option. But the thing is, though, whenever I see something broken, I see an opportunity. Like, cool, I have the opportunity to respec my C1 again.
Mhm.
Let's go. Let's upgrade tier 1. Let's give it this and that. Now, in
Try out
terms
some
of like,
things.
yeah, I actually posted something in Spectrum with ideas on base building and crafting that I was bored with in the game ideas section. But one thing I forgot to mention in there is anomalies.
Mhm.
Just like in Korean MMOs, they have procking. You usually build the base, and then there's a chance it becomes the epic version.
Yeah.
Anomaly stats can appear, and I know some games do, but it's been a while since I've seen one, where it can be a random chance during the process. A
I
stat could
hate
be
that.
very beneficial or completely bad.
I absolutely hate that RNG bullshit about the way MMOs have gone, where I now have to farm and it's like gambling and it just gets so
Especially because you're
fucking
farming the
stupid.
exact
Listen,
same
but
one piece of
Gamba
content.
Gamba
right?
keeps players playing though.
Yeah, but
It
like,
does,
but I
and it would
played
work, but
I
it'd suck.
played an MMO for fucking 17 years. It did have Gamba at the end actually, but it's honestly why I stopped playing. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah. Ultimate Online
Like I mean,
had
Eve has Gamba
yeah,
with
but
mutaplasmid.
I know, but with what the I don't have to do that though.
High end stuff, like
Yeah.
really high end stuff.
Yeah. If as long as we're on the the highest end, I don't have to feel like I need to participate in this. That's the thing that we need to address as well is everyone in this community feels like they deserve to be a part of everything. I will not say the streamer's name. I watched somebody complain about the idea of like literally everything shared at CitizenCon. It was like, "Oh, so you're telling me I'm going to have to grind and do this and do that, and then I don't have the best material, so I'm going to have to do this." And it was just like, "No, you don't have to." Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to participate in these things, but there's content for people who want to, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the
You
people
don't
that are
want to
going
do
to want to,
Gamba. You just let someone else do Gamba, and you
And then
just
you buy
pay
it.
money for the
Yeah.
final result. Simple
and
as
then you just-
that.
and then you just buy
And-
it. Exactly.
That's honestly what the quest items are for. Like they're not going to be mid max, but they'll put you at a position like you said earlier, like UE token like currency. So let's say UE credit, I have access to buy. I generate it. I can get this gear that is insurable, but it is only tied to me, and I can't resell it. It's not going to be min max, but it at least puts you at a competent level if you do have to engage with a player. Like that is what I like to call safe sec like gameplay there, because
Mhm.
you're not involved in crafting much. You only have 3 hours a day to play, if any. And at least you are given something to work towards. You may not be, as sociable, because we do have a lot of solo players
Yeah.
here.
You
And
have to
I think
support
giving
solo
them
gameplay.
Yeah, I think giving them just enough things to work towards in this safe sec area, and then also they can go to like, lower sec areas to, put their foot in the water and get that, get that thrill, I guess, and try to get some of the crafting material and upgrade there, or have a friend do it. But either way, though, um, like I think they need definitely with the story mode at least introduce some gear that is definitely going to be insurable for the players that don't have a whole lot of money, whereas the I guess you could say like the everydayers, the daily flyers have something that they can make that makes them very unique, especially in war times as well as like racing and stuff. Work towards because they are able to spend time and they have more sorry, they have more investment in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. But overall, though, I am not completely like 100% against what they presented, but there's just a lot of openings that
There's
needs to be
holes.
closed.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
lot
there's
of
just
holes.
so many holes, and I think that's left intentionally because, again, it's just an outline what they presented us.
Yeah, we're still
What I
years away
saw-
from this being. a
What I
game.
saw was them redrawing the white paper, and I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
But
my fear. But yeah,
to be honest, though, I'm happy they did. The thing is, though, we
Yep.
definitely needed a redefinition of Star Citizen after over 12 years. It is now entering its rebellious phase in its life cycle. So once it releases in 18, it'll become a full adult, and hopefully it can make its journey through the world.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know you guys got other things to do. But I can't think of anything else. I mean, I have other things too, like base building and all that, and everything I missed in the last 2 weeks. But you guys don't have time for that.
I'm
No.
sure we'll get to a lot of this stuff as we go through the next few months.
Through the next year, yeah.
Yeah.
The difference
Yeah.
between this sitcon and last sitcon is none of this stuff's going to happen. So, anytime soon,
Yeah.
obviously, right? This is more
Yeah.
farther out, very high level, far away stuff. So, we'll be talking about
Yeah.
this for probably years, not years.
But at least
Yeah,
now
I-
we have something to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our conversations are going to just be driven by whatever the ISC now is that week because it
As it has.
will
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys get to the next caller. I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Warbot.
Cheers,
Be good, man.
Warbotnix.
Mm.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right. And we're going to bring in KingJasper next. King, you're muted, so I want to make sure you can hear us. You're coming in. Mute the stream and start listening to Discord. And you'll be our final caller for the day.
Fair enough. All right.
How you doing, Jasper?
Doing good, doing good. I've got an interesting perspective on the matter. I've seen a lot of people who are in communities, I'm in PvP style communities, where they have been thinking about it as the kind of the more casualized option where you can just constantly have the same thing on repeat over and over again, which really kills a lot of the aspects of the game in terms of risk, in terms of reward, in terms of what are we even doing this for? And they just really need to clarify things, I think, is the state of the play now.
Yeah, the biggest thing they need to talk about is, does this include upgrades? If it does, take it back. It shouldn't.
Yeah. And then you can go in a lot of other directions, but like
Yeah.
make it clear that death of a spaceship actually does matter when you just did a whole PowerPoint
Yeah.
presentation that makes it look like it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Or
I think that
it makes it look like it doesn't if you pledge.
Yeah.
I think the Dark Monkey's Paw is that it's like the easiest form of pay to win they can have, and also that it's a little bit of this kind of how do we appease these people who are going to be upset about this thing, and also a little bit of this what are we going to do when we kind of the money tree runs dry.
It may already be.
I still imagine the answer is going to be cosmetics. There was a really interesting.
I think it's
it
buying
was
UEC.
I would hope it's that.
I don't think it's buying UEC. I think it's cosmetics. They're buying you like, unless it goes the way that like Plex did, basically.
I think it will go the way the Plex
yeah.
did.
I think it
We'll
has to.
have ultimate AUEC. We're gonna have UUEC ultimate UEC, and then you would be able to buy like cosmetics, like just things.
I think there'll be a subscription.
I think subscription
yeah,
has
sure.
to be there.
Well,
Unfortunately,
the subscription, it transitions from what we've got currently? Does it just become more
Oh,
cosmetics again, like weekly?
No,
King, you
I
are
think
impossible to deal with.
subscription will become
been-
beneficial.
I raised your mic to 120%, and now I'm at 90. So just try to stay the same distance away from your mic if you can.
Me?
I have been
Me?
no,
Jasper.
Jasper. I've been like
My apologies.
try
I
to
don't know
manage
why
the mic.
that's changing.
I think you're just maybe getting excited or something, but I'm trying my best to manage it. It's like blowing out occasionally, but I got you.
Is that better?
Yeah. I was watching a podcast by Space Meadow where he was talking to crap. It was this week. I forget his name, but insert creator name, whoever it was, and he was talking about how the greater gaming community will not stand for like purchasing of ships, and 100% they won't. They will not. They will not play the game if that's the case. Cosmetics, although also Plex, because I did essentially forget about that, is just such a better way to monetize these types of games now, because they now have a huge proven record across multiple MMOs of using those kinds of
Just
ways.
imagine
yeah.
selling the unique, quote unquote, like premium looks of bases.
Yeah.
The complete like buildings they showed, like when you build them, right, as a base, you not just change the skin, you actually modify the looks, like industrial, sci-fi, whatever.
Pyro
it kind of
version.
resembles
Yeah.
it kind of resembles the same like silhouette, because like it has to in its internals, right? But it like has a complete custom geometry and skin. People would ape that
Eat it up.
shit so
Yeah.
badly.
Yep.
Yeah, and it will
What if it
not
could be more? What if it could be a completely unique geometry? What if it could be a completely
well,
unique style of?
unique geometry might play into pay to win, like, because they would create a unique geometry and that geometry will benefit
I can
players.
fit more hangers within my
like during the
space.
assault, like, or it has a better corridors that make you benefit from that. It's a very slippery slope, like, to go, because it could be like a pay to win aspect. Like certain games have a bad record of creating those like skins for characters that would just like literally visually blend with the background, and everyone apes that because it's a pay to win. So I don't know about the complete geometry, but at least like reskinned and remodeled, like polygons, all that, but maintaining the approximately same outlooks could work, and it's people will buy that crazy. Also, another thing, you touched on subscriptions. I think at some point we will go a freemium subscription way, where when you don't need to pay subscription to play, but subscription will get you not only like flair, but it will get you plus 5% to reputation gains with a like mission grind,
unlock
plus
certain
like
content,
plus 5% to a UEC gain from mission rewards.
That's
or
how
like
Albion Online does it.
yeah, like minus certain
content is
premium on
gated,
paying insurance,
but it
so it
speeds
kind of
up
just
the experience.
speeds up. No specific like, oh, you get this thing no one else cannot get because you subscribe, but just percentages.
Like, it's such a sad world we live in now, where we argue for less shit pay to win instead of shit pay to win. But that's where we're at these days.
It's the dark reality of the increasing costs of everything, though.
Yeah. It's the inflation. You have to, like, to make these games, you have to run the studio with like 1,000 people basically.
Yep.
You have to pay for the servers, and you did like really bad promises back in the day that it's gonna be like pay to play
forever.
and there will be no subscription, and you sold so many ships to make it even possible, and you gotta like now just dig that pile of shit you've created and have to like navigate through it somehow, right?
Yep.
Oh, they're in a deep hole.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Okay, hypothetical speculative subscription, does that include like the trial ships that it still does now? Does it include something like that, or is it just some kind of mitigating?
No one
benefit,
knows.
like,
It was just a speculation by me, like what it possibly could be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but speculative.
Sure. Anything else, King? Because we are definitely coming up against it, I would say.
Okay, I think the blueprint thing definitely, like, a durability on like specialist blueprints, but whatever the generic lowest tier of that, I don't think you can lose that on a death or anything.
Yeah,
I think
agreed. That could be like infinite. That's
because otherwise it just creates this kind of not toxic pattern, but this kind of inconvenient pattern where if you get something special, let's say, the Hornet Mark II remains the meta ship forever, off into the future, certainly, hopefully won't, but it does. If you're the player who gets that, your account is now, you can't die, bud. Sorry about that.
Too much convenience kills games long term, but too much inconvenience kills games instantly.
I think for me, it's just a case of I'm happy to regrind the material, the gear, the research, everything else, so long as the investment of time and resources to do it is reasonable. So a world where I lose stuff more regularly, but it actually doesn't take all that long, like, I don't know, like half a day to acquire another, whatever the ship is.
Depends on what, but
look, if you're making a Bengal in half a day, we got a problem. But like,
oh yeah, for
light
sure,
fighter or something.
That's how these games works. You're absolutely right, because it's like in World of Warcraft, you would spend months raiding to get your gear up, right, on your character, but then you
But you'll
never lose it.
Yeah.
And in the games like Tarkov, whatever, Eve, depending on obviously on your level of commitment, that you could build a frigate that worth like 5 billion, but whatever. On average, you just approximate the risks and the investment, and okay, I can lose the ship in this combat, and it will take me a day to get it back, like, or half a day, or that amount of hours of grinding, and it's just an investment in your fun. Like, okay, I'm in the ship, I already consider it lost, I go have fun, and I know this will take me this long to get it back. Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah,
I think I'll leave it on. I worry that will result a little, like, that'd be something I'd be hugely happy with, but I worry that'll result in the gear fear problem for a large portion of the community.
Yeah, I struggled with gear fear in Tarkov, even myself, somebody who loves these types of mechanics.
But I think that's kind of a mesh point, and I think that's the nature of casual play versus hard play. And don't go to Pyro.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of where we got to, I think, at some point, is like, if insurance, if Pyro has to have this excitement of, or this, what would it be called?
Hard knocks, high risk, high reward.
Yeah, magnetic capability of bringing a player who does not want to go there because of the risks. It has to have that magnetism to try to draw them in, and then the risk and all that stuff kind of happens. But the Stanton system and others have to have that feeling of peace and tranquility and calmness that allows for players who are looking for that in that moment, right?
It's
but
extreme reward.
You want to be drawn to it. Yeah.
It's extreme reward. The reward for going to Pyro and picking up a billion weevil eggs and transporting it back to Stanton and selling it off. I think it's actually the inverse now, but anyhow, doing that, the risk of doing that is, you spend $1 trillion to do it. You come back, you make 10 on the way.
There is a place in Pyro that sells weevil eggs. I think you found it, Cutlet, right? Somebody found it.
No, bro.
Oh yeah,
I had one day in 4.0.
Croncy
I know
found
nothing
it.
still.
Yeah.
EchoBit found it.
EchoBit found it. Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody found it. I don't know how much SCU they sell or whatever, but yeah.
I don't know. I've been hearing different inputs either side, but I digress. The risk of acquire a bunch of that stuff, send it back to the other place, and the journey in between is extremely high risk. I probably get jumped a couple of times in the process and have to dodge around a couple of things, but if I make it all the way back, in even my little Avenger Titan, it's a huge W. I feel over the moon.
There have to be points in the game where your hands are shaking. That's the points I loved in Ultima,
Same
in Tarkov, and in Eve. Like, I could be like, taking the risk that I'm just fine with and just not even caring, but there is like always a point in those games where I step into something extremely expensive or have an extremely expensive cargo, and with all my knowledge and all my like experience in the game, I still feel the adrenaline overwhelming me. My hands are shaking, and I'm doing bad decisions because of that, because of these emotions, and I have to like fight through these emotions to even like survive. And that's the best feeling these types of games can give you. And on the other hand, if you just manage your risks, you're just chilling. You're just playing. You're like casually playing. Just don't get into the shit you're not capable of losing it monetarily. I mean, just don't do it.
It's again
You
where I go
have-
back to too many people in this community think that they should be allowed to do everything because they maybe purchased a bunch of ships or whatever. That should never be the case. Your pledge should mean absolutely nothing to how the game plays. Unfortunately, that's not how it will be because you'll have spaceships. There's your bonus. Stop asking for more. Play the game, enjoy it, and allow them to make the game enjoyable for more people than just people who spent a lot of money on it. And when people make those arguments, don't argue against them because you've had your fun. You purchased everything. You're the man. Congratulations. Like I can't stand those fucking arguments from people. It drives me nuts.
You've both touched on 2 points. On the shaking hands thing, I'm remembering trade packs in Arcade. The shaking hands feeling of making a successful run through a PvP zone and getting to the sale point.
Water content, Arcade, the best. Moving the packages through the ocean. Oh my god, that was wonderful.
I would go all the way from the south, all the way up to the north, make it all the way across the coast. It was all chill up until you saw that coastline again. You go, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys need ashes of creation.
In terms of people wanting to do everything, it reminds me of the thing of one of the things that you hear a chunk when you're a PvP player is people complaining about you're griefing them, you're doing XYZ, and they feel that they should, be better than you or beat you in XYZ way. And I remember a very core one of someone saying they want to beat people because they've, built their base or, made their ship and they've, made some decisions about it. They've equipped it with these weapons and stuff. And my first thought was, how do you think that these people that you're talking about aren't also investing the time into researching and doing these things?
Some of them aren't. I mean, everyone has different amounts of time and money, and that's the argument that we're making about everything that we discussed today. Is the game doesn't break if people pay to win and don't have time. The game doesn't break if people don't pay to win and have a lot of time. The game breaks when people don't have a lot of time and don't have money. And the game breaks when people have a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that.
True.
You have to respect that. The world doesn't revolve around you. The world revolves around everybody, or around the sun, and we're all on it.
Around Chris Roberts.
Yeah, and that if your game is going to be good, more people than just you are going to be happy. And that's it. Stop thinking it revolves around concierge backers, and it doesn't. The game is going to be built because of you. Thank you. But the game should not revolve around you. And that's it. That was never part of Chris's
thank
vision.
you for your investment and thank you for helping the project.
Yep, and I'll look forward to when you don't enjoy the game.
Investment in relation to Star Citizen.
Oh yeah, it's a meme.
Yeah, no, I know, but there's people who still think like that.
Yeah,
but no, they will get a lot out of it, but it's just this absolute greed of like wanting, demanding even more. Like, I want to have this, and no one should stop me from doing what I want to do because I paid that money. Like javelin and this and like one man javelin and never lose it. And yeah, but where's the game then?
Yeah, it's just stupid. But all right, King.
It borders on arrogance.
Yeah, it is, and that's what it is. So it's sad, and I know streamers come off as arrogant all the time, but it's not. Everything I've ever said was to try to make the game better for more people than just me. So,
I'm super arrogant. I'm fine.
I know.
Oh no, I've liked all your takes so far, other than the extreme ends of the loss of ships. But that's just because I understand the legal side of things as well. They're just not going to be able to do it.
No. Like my logic never evolved around breaking the legal thing. Like the only legal thing they ever said that they'll like, let's say you'll get the ship back. I'm fine.
Yeah, stock
if
ship.
the person gets stock tier 1 ship, fine, whatever. It's whatever. We have to deal with it. It's what they promised, but I'm against the warranty on the higher tiers. That's the main.
No, that's valid. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
Goodbye.
I have to go because it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to lose it. But so just don't mind me. Like what I said.
definitely don't.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm gonna let you go. Yeah, he's gone. But I'm just gonna
Yep.
quickly at the end. I'm worried about what I said earlier, that people are going to take it as like that streamer take, like, oh my God, imagine a streamer being stressed out. It's not about streaming. It's not about content. It's about other things that are going on in my life that I'm not talking to you about, which is why I was like, all right, man, we got to go. We got to go, guys, because I need to get back to the extremely stressful things that are going on in my normal life that are taking away from the time that I would normally have to make content and stuff like that. So that's what's happening with me. So just not sharing any of that information with you because it's none of your business. And that's really it. So don't want to get hate for things that I don't think I should get hate for, if that makes sense, right? So
Mike, you're a streamer. You have to work for everyone 24/7.
yeah, I don't mind. I enjoy it. I just don't want to do it in the middle of the night when I should be sleeping. That's all. And now I'll have to, which sucks.
Imagine sleeping, bro.
Yeah. it never
Imagine not
happens.
streaming 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. every night, Mike.
Well, yeah, you're nuts. I did it for 10 years. I did it for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
fair.
I feel like I finally got the taste of a normal life. And I'm losing that taste again, which blows.
One
I
day I'll
remember
see the
doing
sun.
24-hour streams. I just I don't want to. Cannot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm
can't
too
do it
old to
anymore.
do that now.
Too old.
Yeah, it's just that probably
Shut
the
up.
age. I don't know if
He's
I
so
don't know
young.
if
it's
So, how old are you?
I turned 30 and I died.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn 40 April.
Me too. February.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's the age or Star Citizen just not being as exciting as it was to me before. At least for now, like I have no idea.
That's true. I
Maybe
get
it's
24-hour a day one of a new MMO easily.
Yeah. Because I remember like when I switched back to Eve after not playing it for so many
not
times, I had like 15-hour streams like
Yeah.
every day.
Like when Throne of Liberty came out, I went pretty hard, but I didn't go as hard as I could because again, just real life bullshit that gets in the way.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. But
It's fine. We're gonna have 4.0. We're gonna have 1.0. We're gonna do 48-hour streams, Mike. I'll be
Yeah.
mining with you.
48
True.
hours. Jesus.
True. But I think that's a good place to kind of leave it and just say, I think we've said our piece. I think Cutlet said it the best was
I definitely did. Yeah.
we said our piece.
I probably could
and
talk about it for another 2 hours, but
I think
all
I could
the major
too.
points
think I could
were
too.
covered.
But yeah, we just if we don't keep it succinct, nobody will ever get the points that we're trying to make in the first place because they would have
Very true.
fallen asleep by that point anyway, right? It's hopefully what we get out, people understand our perspectives, understand that we understand your perspective, and that hopefully we get something good out of it, and that's it, right? Hopefully we get something good out of it. They're saying raid Cutlet. Are you streaming Cutlet so we could raid you?
No, I'm not streaming more of it. In like an hour or so, I'll go to another podcast.
Oh shit. Okay, nice.
Yeah, I have a tight schedule today. Yeah.
All right, well that's even more reason to let you go and let you
Yep.
get something to eat or something like that. So
It's
I want to
fine.
say thank you everybody for watching today. Thank you Cutlet for showing up and sharing
Yeah,
your
bro,
Bro,
perspective.
my pleasure. It was so good, actually.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's like, because whenever I talk to my audience, I'm like a broken record for them at this point. Like, I just keep repeating
Yeah.
myself, and they all know my points. Being able to share it with your audience, like the frustrations, the ideas, and all of that, I probably could have prepared a little bit better, and to just voice my ideas in a
It would
more
be
like
fake then.
structured way. But
It wouldn't be
prepared prepared and me, that's like, bro, like if I would be able to ever prepare myself, I'll probably sitting already at like 3K viewers in Star Citizen category.
Nah.
You know, so
It's the you need to be genuine and say how you're feeling in the moment. That's what people want, and it's just
yeah, I think
that's
that's how I roll
Yeah.
usually. Yeah.
Yep.
Of course. So, all right. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and we appreciate you. We want to do more stuff like this, like guests and stuff. So just give us feedback. Let us know how we did and all that stuff. Maybe we can,
And who you'd like to see as well.
yeah, other guests that you want to see on the show and stuff like that. I'm open for literally anybody. I don't care. I'm not against having anybody on the show. So, and we'll see what we can do. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. You're watching on Twitch. Follow all three of us. Our names are how they are on Twitch. And yeah, So thank you for watching, and I'm terrible at outros, so I'm just gonna say, don't forget, you don't have to participate in this, Cutlet.
It's the call.